So we decided not to just stop at season 1, because that'd be weird.
Little
So
weird.
the adventure continues.
There's also the fact that season 1 is 65 episodes, so that was quite a big undertaking, comparatively speaking. This one's 20. There's only 2 seasons, and this one's 20 episodes long. So, if regardless of whether or not we go into any of the other Batman shows, like or is that New Adventures? Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
If we decide
The new Batman Adventures, not the the one I kept referring to, the 70s show with Adam West,
right,
which is not the same thing. It was crazy what a slightly different order will do. You'll go from like a sort of a relatively serious follow up to this, or you can review the one with Batmite in it. So
Batmite. So yeah, we just kind of decided, like, you know what, screw it. We've already got this far. It would be weird not to include the rest of this, basically the whole show, because it's only roughly a quarter of the entire thing. We've done 3/4 of it already. 65 out of 85. So yeah, why not? Let's go for it.
yeah.
So we have, and we're doing things a little differently this time in that we are to try to maximize the amount of stuff we remember about these episodes. We watched the first 10, so we actually haven't seen all of season 2 yet. We've seen half of it. So we've seen 10 episodes. We're going to do tier the 10 episodes, and then part 2 will be the rest of the season and the rest of the show. So we are going to get into the first 10 episodes of season 2 based on production order ? Because again, the
Still weird.
The airing order is very strange, and there's actually a little bit of confusion with that in the intros, because the intro depends on when it was aired and not when it was produced. So
it's
really, because I think they retroactively added the Batman and Robin intro for other episodes. Like, I don't know. It's either way, like, it's very much like what we saw actually has different intros depending on when it was aired. So that was really confusing. It's also worth mentioning maybe that the first one we did Netflix. They had season 1, and then they didn't have season 2. So we watched it on Amazon. And
my Prime subscription paying for itself.
Yeah. The episode order was really weird. I think this was considered like season 3, episode 10 or something. Like the first episode of season 2 here. Like, I don't know. It was very strange. Like, we were conscious to make sure that, like, we were watching them in the production order. And they were in production order, but they were labeled in completely different ways. So it is yet another way that they're organized, because it's not the air dates.
I almost said, like, at least streaming has kind of standardized things a bit, but no, Netflix just doesn't have these episodes, or at least the UK Netflix. I don't know.
Right.
So weird. Still, things are still weird.
Yeah, and that'll come up a couple of times, because Amazon apparently has this interesting feature where when you, like, mouse over it, it shows relevant actors, like, on screen. Like, it'll have a list of, like, voice actors, mostly for characters who were in those scenes.
Yeah.
And those, some of our notes will include that, so that'll be look forward to that.
Pretty helpful. Pretty good feature, honestly.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Also, very quick mention that between season 1 and season 2, we had the movie Mask of the Phantasm. So if you want to, like, I guess you could, if anyone watching this, if you want to incorporate that in our, like, review, because we have reviewed it, that's in the Batman movie video. So, like, technically part of this series.
Where does it go on our tier list, though?
That's we already put it on a tier list. It does not go on this one. That doesn't work. That's cheating.
All right, fair enough.
That being said, though, Sub-Zero wouldn't be that great.
Honestly. No. I think it would be Phantasm, and then everything else, like, is in the bottom half somewhere.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah. Let's get into it then, huh?
Yeah, who's the first villain we guess? It's gonna be, it'll be Joker, right? I mean, that's an obvious one. What's this, Sideshow? Oh, I love the Carnival. Great Joker episode, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh no, it's Killer Croc.
These guys in chains here. Oh no, it's Killer Croc. Oh no.
We're saying that like, oh no, he's the worst. He's not. Well, he's Penguin. He's not Scarecrow. Yeah, I know.
Penguins. Oh my god.
He's given them a run for. Anyway.
It's just funny how much we enjoy this show as a whole, but it has a lot of jobbers. Like, it made a lot of jobbers out of some of their villains, which is kind of a shame.
Some villains are definitely get better episodes than others. Like we're seeing patterns here. Killer Croc hasn't appeared enough yet for us to really have that much of a. We don't have much of an impression for a Killer Croc episode, especially considering one of his appearances wasn't even him. So
right, that's true. Yeah, he's only appeared once as like himself. So
yeah.
How does a second Killer Croc episode actually go? Well, it's pretty interesting. This is not what I would have like started out with in season 2, which is maybe another reason why they.
We're not even sure. We're not even sure if this quote started off, but whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, in terms of modern viewing, this is what we're leading with.
This episode starts with Killer Croc.
Finally, the Clock King and the Killer Croc have joined forces.
Oh
we are
God.
Killer Clock.
Oh God, I'm so glad we're never going to see Clock King again. So this episode starts with Killer Croc he's in chains on a train. They're transporting him somewhere. I don't really remember where, but to an upstate prison. Thank you, synopsis. He is being transported. Batman's there.
It's a prison. It's like he's being transported by train to be set into the wild.
Well, he is. The train is passing through the wilderness, actually, and Batman's there, just kind of keeping an eye on things. And then suddenly, Killer Croc escapes, and Batman gives chase, but eventually. Croc manages to, get off the train. I think he knocks Batman out. Like, they have this confrontation where he nearly hits him with a rock, because of course he does. Yeah. And then he's hit with, sedatives, because he spends a lot of this section, just being dizzy and, stumbling around. So,
and he loses consciousness.
Yeah, but he gets pretty far. He manages to actually escape. He falls on his ass down a mountain. He's running through the woods and then falls into a river and then passes out. And Batman's in trying to find him, and he kind of loses him essentially. So, but then you see a boy jump in the river after him, and then he wakes up in a camp somewhere, a little cabin basically in the woods, and it's a band of circus freaks, for lack of a better term. There's just 5 of these outcasts basically living out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And
you think you get a good look at the kid and you're like, that was a weird animation goof earlier, and you're like, no, he has flippers for hands.
Yeah. It's him with the flipper hands. There's a lady with 2 heads. There's a big guy, Goliath, I think. He's just
the lady with 2 heads, technically 2 people.
Yeah. It's the Siamese twins or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you mean. I'm being pedantic.
And then the ringleader is kind of this hunchback guy. And
it's Shakespeare, Richard III.
Right. And there's this kind of there's just this thing about they all he sympathizes with them because he's an outcast himself, Killer Croc, and they basically win him over. He's trying to be I don't need you guys. I'm Killer Croc. I'm independent. You guys are fools.
I don't need no gang.
Yeah. And at one point, I actually missed this, but at one point, the leader, like they mentioned that the leader has just like $1 million stashed away somewhere or something like that. He's just like a wad of bills like stashed away, and they're just like, oh, keep it down. And Croc is, you know, he's kind of playing it, keeping his cards held close, and whenever he hears that, like that night, he goes to take the money, but then he kind of goes like, you know what? I don't really got anywhere else to be, so I don't.
Yeah,
like...
he doesn't do like a full face turn, but he's like, yeah, he's reluctant. He does hesitate.
Yeah, he's just like, maybe not. And I think around that time, Batman ends up finding them. I just want to throw
and
out
he's
though,
like,
what does Croc need with money? Like, is he going to go spend it? Like, I don't know. That was just kind of weird.
He's a criminal. I mean, the spoilers. We do see him again. And he's like just robbing shit up. If I remember, so because he just, it's the same reason anyone would want money, I guess.
I guess.
Spend it. It's a Harvey Bullock disguise. Needs upgrading.
I can't imagine him just going somewhere to spend it. You know, like he doesn't have henchmen to spend it for him. So like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Well, not yet. He doesn't. He does later.
Oh, that's...
He'll get henchmen, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Killer Croc, we've seen in a few episodes now, and I still don't quite have his character down. That's a negative here, because he's I don't know. He's kind of like a brute, but then we'll later see him actually commanding henchmen, but that's not this episode. But he's a little bit weird, and I'm still kind of weirded out that his debut was kidnapping in impersonation, but.
Yeah.
This episode is like kind of like the only time he's kind of doing what I'd expect him to do. He's actually just kind of a killer who's on the run, and he's just kind of savage. He's still human, but he has savage tendencies.
Yeah, they actually like play around with his morals, like just kind of show what he's about. Because he has this sort of change of heart, but then Batman shows up. He gets captured. Like they throw him in one of those like big cages on wheels.
You can see it in the title card there.
Yeah, the wagon. And the freaks are all the gang. I don't know if I feel bad calling them freaks. The outcasts.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The outcasts. They're all gathered around. They're like, hey, this guy like he wants to take you, like, or Killer Croc's telling him like, you know, he's a bad guy. He wants to put me in chains and keep me locked up, and they're all like, oh man, that sucks. So, and then Killer Croc's like, alright, so let's kill him.
Yeah, Batman's like, no, he's a killer. Goes, no, I'm not. Oh, by the way, we're gonna kill this guy.
Yeah. Just immediately, he's just like, I am not a killer, I'm gonna kill you.
I'll kill you for that.
He literally...
That's some Oblivion shit there. Just like, a murderer. Like, I'll murder you for that. Lie.
It really is. And they immediately are just like, yo, this guy's, like, we wanted to like him, but he's, you know, he just wants to murder this dude. And, so there's like, Batman escapes by, like, headbutting he, like, tackles the thing and, like, knocks it over a cliff. Oh yeah, there's like rifles involved. Like the guy.
The guy has not one but 2 hunting rifles.
Yeah.
I remember.
I mean, I can't really describe the action scene, but it was like I just remember it being really good. Like it was a pretty good action scene, and then it ends with like a weird he's on a water wheel, and it like it like crushes him.
Yeah, but it doesn't really like show it.
Yeah.
Like, you see where it's going, then it kind of cuts away, and then he's like, ow, and then he falls in the water.
Yeah, it
was like Killer Croc with a gun. Just it's just something about his character, you know, he's like a barehanded kind of savage fighter. It's just him shooting a rifle. Kind of weird.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was definitely like that. I do remember noting that it was a really good action scene, but with a weird conclusion. And then, of course, you know, he gets taken away, and that thing we don't know the name of. It's like a chair, it's like gurney. Kind of thing, I don't know. The Hannibal Lecter.
Well, usually use them. Yeah, usually use them for like moving crates or stuff, or cannibals. I mean, yeah,
One or the other. But
yeah,
and that was kind of that. We ended up liking it. It was definitely like kind of more what you want out of a Killer Croc episode, because it doesn't do weird shit with them. It, like this,
he acts like what I would expect from him, or at least a version of him, not the Bullock thing.
yeah. It plays more to what you expect, but it doesn't really establish his character too well. Like, that's one of our negatives, is just we still don't really understand what kind of character he is even after this. Like, because he's just like, oh, he's a criminal, but he's not. But he's lonely, I guess.
A lot of the criminals get like quite sympathetic. He's not quite there. Like he does hesitate to steal when the kid's looking, things like that. But he's still ultimately kind of an asshole. He's not. Even like Penguin got like quite a bit of a sympathetic appearance from his Reform episode. You know, a lot of the villains have sympathetic origins, but Killer Croc, we just don't really know enough about him.
Yeah, like, most we got is that he kind of relates to all these outcasts, and then that's it. That's really all we got. Not that it really made him change that much, because he very quickly gives up on that, but other than that, like, it's a good episode. Like, it's interesting because it's all out in the woods. Like, there's absolutely no city in it whatsoever. So,
no.
Very different. It's a good change of pace, even though it's the start of the season, but,
yeah.
It's still nice.
It simply gives a good start, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, we wrote B. Already have a loaded tier list, so now we have to figure out where everything goes.
Right, well, I'm kind of doing it like this. I'm kind of saying, is it better than worse than this? This, and I'm kind of carrying down. I think I prefer Scarface. I think I prefer Poison Ivy. I think I prefer Heart of Steel. That part, at least. I don't know. Here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it.
Actually, that's. Yeah.
I like Birds of a Feather quite a bit. Zatanna's fine, but yeah, I think that's a good place for it.
That's a good place for it, yeah.
I think that's why we're gonna have to start doing this. We're just gonna have to go better or worse, and then just slap it somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Alright. A bullet for Bullock. I'm so glad you added all these photoshops in here.
Photoshops, you mean? I mean, you use like PaintShop Pro. I'm like, I haphazardly use Paint.net. My skills are not on your level.
Is that Riddler one from the fucking pinball game?
Yes. It's Jim Carrey. I don't know.
Oh, God.
I thought, let's preserve these in video form.
Yeah. I'm happy with these. Alright, so... a bullet for Bullock. It's a Bullock episode. It starts with, oh, God. It's been like 5 days.
It's fine. Someone's trying to kill Bullock.
I do remember the main plot is just like somebody sets up, like, it threatens Bullock, basically, like, get out of town or you're dead. And he's just sort of like, well, you know what? He calls on Batman. He actually does like the bat signal, and he's like, hey,
yeah,
I don't like you. You don't like me.
I like you. Oh, well, I don't like you.
But
Sorry.
we need. I got this problem, and you're the only person that can help me with this. Batman's like, all right, again, I don't like
best
you.
Buddy.
I don't like the way you do things, but you know what?
He just sort of implies on the take. He's like, no, I'm not. He's like very offended by that.
Oh yeah. Bullock is. I mean, it's a Bullock-centric episode, obviously, but so much so that Gordon is not in it. He is mentioned, but he does not actually appear in this. Like, it is almost all centered around Batman helping the police, but it's specifically Bullock and no one else. So
yeah,
it's interesting. And so you get a lot of back and forths with those two, Batman and Bullock, and It's really really good. Uh,
Yeah, just the tone. He's a really likable character. Well, he's an asshole, but he's like an endearing asshole
yeah, he's
in a way that's a lot of fun.
a very fun character. This is the episode really made me appreciate this character a lot more. Like he was always just kind of in the background up until now, but now he's like actually showing him off more. It's like, oh, this guy he's great. So I really did appreciate that.
He is the protagonist of this episode. Like he is the POV for most of the episode.
Yeah, for sure. The episode also has it's snowing, as we noted, and then we realized, like, we saw somebody putting down decorations, and there's a couple of lines of dialogue, I think, that it's like, oh, this is after Christmas, but before New Year. Like, it's a very specific but very interesting setting. Like, you don't see that very often.
No, not really, no.
It doesn't really have much to do with anything, but it's just...
It's funny how memorable that kind of makes it, though. It just... I don't know why you would do that, but it just adds a bit of colour to the dialogue. You know, they can make references to Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah,
it explains why it's snowing. You know, but you'd need that. But yeah, it's a bit like it's not as on the nose as Batman Returns, but it's I don't know.
It's interesting. Like sometimes episodes will just have lots of flair like that. And it almost feels like they knew which ones were their winners, because like those end up really helping an episode be memorable. Just all these different, like, another thing with this one is that this episode is heavily music themed, or like it has a big emphasis on like jazzy, like noir music.
Yeah, the whole thing is heavily. I mean, the whole show is, but this episode particularly is heavily film noir. Like, especially coming from Bullock's perspective, you know, you get a lot of voiceovers and him self-reflecting on what's happening. That's a film noir thing. That carries over to the music as well. And I started making mentions of the music as we were watching it, and it just kept getting better as the episode continued. Culminates in your sort of token Batman fight scene. It has a jazz interpretation of the main Batman theme, and it's so damn cool. And I was like really starting to make note. Like, this music's really good. I don't typically notice the music. The music in this show is typically always like very, very good. But this is the first time I was like really went out of my way to notice it, apart from like the character motifs. And then you looked it up, and it was just said, "Oh no, this won like an Emmy for the music specifically."
Yeah.
And like, oh. Okay, that makes sense.
Explains a lot. Wasn't something like it was dynamic where it would change the theme based on who it was focusing on? It's like when Batman was doing something, it was like the show theme, and then when Bullock was on screen, it was doing something different. Like
with his motif,
yeah. It was just really well made. This is actually...
this is also true for the whole show, but this one in particular really made me appreciate how good it is to have like a full orchestra to score the show. I'm sure that cost Warner Brothers a lot of money, but man, like Cuphead, you can tell the difference between like a live band and just something that's synthesized. It's so good. Like, it was worth the money.
It's funny. I don't think we're actually going to do any like a gag with the that Sega CD episode, but I just want to mention that because that's a good example of like how whenever you take those things out, suddenly the episode doesn't feel as good because you've got what is essentially an episode of the show in the Sega CD game, but the music is done by like the US Sonic CD guy, and the sound effects are they're much more cartoony.
The stock Doom sound effects.
Yeah, that was it. And it doesn't hit nearly as good, even though it's like by the same animators, or you know, it's animated like an episode of the show.
Even the voice cast is the same, but
yeah.
If you want an example of just how important musical direction is, and sound effect design as well, that's also paramount. Just watch that. We did a watch of it. Like, just see what a difference that Sega CD in game is, because it still has the same production values, other than being considered visually, but it's still like a normally produced episode. It's just the sound, and God, it has such a difference. It really does.
For sure.
It's like the like what we said when we did when we started noticing ACOM animation. It's like the Sega CD. It's like ACOM made me appreciate good animation, and the Sega CD thing made me appreciate. And this episode combined with this episode made me appreciate good scoring and sound design.
Absolutely. Something that didn't improve is the intro. This is the first episode we saw with the Adventures of Batman and Robin intro, and it is largely just reuse clips. Like, it uses some of the old intro, but it's just like a montage of different clips. And
I hate it when shows do that.
It is so lazy. Like, compared to how good the original is, it's so dumb. Like, it's just whatever. It just meh. But
it's not like particularly bad. It's just suddenly feels just like it's just another cartoon now.
It's very cheap.
And lots of cartoons did that. Yeah, I hated cartoons when they just use. I remember from being a kid, you get the intros with bespoke animation, and then you got the ones with just recycled clips. They were always way lamer,
Yeah, for sure. It's also interesting because due to the way this is set up, like, we see this one, and it's like, oh, this is Adventures of Batman and Robin. Robin is not in this episode.
Get ready for the adventures of Batman and Bullock.
Yeah. Bullock becomes Robin. It's
weird, especially when watching it in this order. You're like, oh wow, new intro. We really put an emphasis on Robin. Where is he?
I don't know. It's very strange. Like, they really pushed Robin in season 2. He's in more of the episodes, and he's even in the title now. But that feels strange to me. Like, he was not that big of a character, and I don't know. Like obviously people like him. Like, I don't dislike him. It just feels weird for this.
I think the heads up at Warner Brothers liked him.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is if that's why it bothers me, because it does feel like it was kind of forced in rather than being natural. So that just feels strange to me. But I guess we'll see how his performance turns out for the rest of the season. He's not in this one though. Not to go too far off on this one episode, but the plot is, Batman is helping out with this investigation. It's like, oh, it's somebody that hates Bullock. Oh, everybody hates Bullock, including his landlord, who is mad at him because he keeps his room a mess, and he can't resell the room anymore. So it ends up.
Yeah, so Bullock gets like the idea that it's this one guy he put away, who's been since released, and that's the big action scene. He takes on this guy, this guy who's been let out of the joint. And then it's a big action scene. You think it's over with, and then the twist comedic ending. So it turns out it was the landlord all along.
Yeah, he just approaches him at the front of the apartment. It's just like, I'm trying to get you out, but you won't leave. You're like a roach. Ah! And then
it's good though. It's well done. It's a silly twist, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a silly joke of an ending, but I think it's a good one. They did it well.
Yeah.
And we get there wasn't enough like focus on the landlord to really make him an obvious red herring, like an obvious well, not a red herring, but he appeared just long enough for you to make an impression, but not enough so you kind of forget about him by the end. So it did work.
It gives you the impression that everyone hates Bullock, but it doesn't give you the impression that he's the one that actually did it. But
exactly,
and it makes sense that he would, because he wants him out of that apartment. So that all worked. So no, that was a really, really good episode. We put it in A. Probably high. Well, let's see. Maybe. I mean, I did really like this episode, especially with the music. Yeah, yeah. I think that. Yeah, I like that. It's hard because they're all good, but all right. So, episode 3, the
You're
trial.
going on. You're going on trial.
Trial.
Yeah, trial.
So, that is a huge synopsis for. Um, there is a new district attorney in Gotham. It's Janet Van Dorn. Van Dorn.
Yeah.
And she.
Who Amazon very kindly tells us is voiced by Alfred's voice actor's daughter.
Oh, right.
So, good to know.
Yeah. That's always fun. But yeah, she's the new district attorney. She does not like Batman. She thinks that guy is wacko, cuckoo, nuts, stupid. Or just a vigilante, one of the two. So, there's one thing I don't remember exactly, which is just how they get there, but I know that the villains of Arkham Asylum break free. They start a riot, essentially. Or not necessarily. What they do is Mad Hatter actually uses his cards, his mind control cards, to basically take control of the entire staff, and they just start running wild. And Batman shows up to, I guess, deal with that. Something's going on, and he ends up showing up there. And Harley and Ivy actually capture him by doing the whole, like, put an outfit on top of a statue trick.
Yeah, that old gag, yeah. Poison Ivy is dressed as Justice.
Yeah.
She is Justice. She is the law.
And they end up capturing him, and, they put him in a straitjacket, and he's, just worthless for the entire episode up until the climax. And she's also there. I forget how she gets kidnapped, I guess.
Yeah.
She might have just been there anyway, and then they just capture her. But either way, they decide, what would be funny is if we put Batman on trial. The super villains of Gotham are going to put him on trial, and you, Miss Van Dorn, if you can convince us that he is not responsible.
Because she made that offhand remark saying, "I'd love to put him on trial."
Oh, yeah. See, like, if you can prove that we're not he is not responsible for us, because you're his defense attorney now. If he's not responsible for us, then we'll let you both live. Otherwise, you both die. And, that obviously wasn't gonna fucking happen. But, so they have this trial where it's just a lot of... It's a lot of, like, callback stuff, a lot of fun stuff, just people being like...
In the Rose Gallery.
Yeah, they're going through...
Everyone's here. Yeah. Not everyone speaks.
Scarecrow... The Wikipedia page actually noted that Scarecrow's VA was recovering from a surgery, I believe, and was not able to speak, so his character is relatively prominent, but he has no lines.
Yeah, because, like, Riddler's also there. He also doesn't speak, but he also doesn't really do much, whereas Scarecrow gets, like, a couple of action scenes, but, doesn't talk.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why it was noteworthy.
Yeah, and then there's some fun gags. Like, I remember, at one point she goes, like, the witnesses influencing the judge, and it's Harley in Joker's arms, and she's just, like, they're just playing around. He's just like, what makes you say that? It's
a lot of fun interactions like that. One of my favorite bits is Mad Hatter's, like, testimonial, and he's saying, like, "Oh, I was just trying to find Alice, and I was just trying to be happy with her." And then the lawyer, she says, "Well, wouldn't it have been better to let her go and respect her wishes?" And Mad Hatter's just like, "I would have killed her first." oh dear, I'm sorry. Can I have that stricken off the record? So that's such a good bit. I would have killed her first. Oh, sorry.
I think Joker's just like, wait, someone's supposed to be recording this?
Yeah.
It's a really good bit. Like, there's a lot of just...
God, Manhunt is good.
Yeah, he is. So they...
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, oh, is someone supposed to be recording this?
And it all culminates in them being all like, okay, well, you did exactly what we told you to do. We're gonna kill you because we're villains.
Die.
Your Honor, League of Legends, die. So they put Batman in the electric chair. He's masked the whole time, of course. They only decide to unmask him before they kill him. And oh, right.
She puts the lights out.
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to set up the what did you call it?
She has she pockets a Chekhov's batarang.
That's right.
Very early on in the episode, she puts it in a jacket pocket. I'm like, that's gonna come up again.
Yeah, you called it,
and
and then
does.
straight up, yeah, she pulls it out and throws it at the lights, and Batman escapes. They have
super nitpicky thing for me. One thing I don't like is the fact that Joker, I think it was Joker, is gonna like pull the mask off, and then it cuts to darkness, but you can still see, and he still hasn't like pulled it off. So I don't know, like it just in terms of animation, it wouldn't have made like an actual difference. But I'm kind of annoyed like Joker stopped removing the mask when the lights went off. I would have preferred it if you could see that, you know, Bruce's face was exposed, but he just couldn't see it.
Right, yeah.
Super nitpicky. I realize that, but
yeah.
I would have liked that if Bruce's face was actually exposed for a second.
Yeah, like that.
You know?
Yeah, that just
like how close he got to seeing it.
Yeah. Everyone almost saw it because everybody's there, including fucking Scarface. I remember having a laugh at Joker using Scarface's tiny Tommy gun, and it apparently actually works. So you just fire it off. Then there's just a lot of action sequences that scarecrow projectiles in reference to him just like menacing them in like a hallway or something, and then Batman just like grabs him and chucks him at the other guys, like just physically throws him as a projectile. And it's like, again, it's weird because he isn't speaking. He obviously is supposed to say stuff, but he isn't. And it's really funny because it's this show's Scarecrow who has had a bad rep so far. And
I think he's actually more intimidating when he doesn't speak.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, he's like kind of being there, like kind of looking menacing, and then other than like, oh, they laughed at me at the university, or whatever he likes to say. I don't know.
Him with his tiny head.
Yeah.
And then I just remember it culminates in a fight off the side of the building, like him and Joker, Batman and Joker, not Scarecrow and Joker.
I hate you, Scarecrow.
Your buffoonery.
Justified your buffoonery.
But yeah, they have a fight on the side of the building, like they're like hanging onto ropes or something.
Like abseiling and...
Yeah.
Bit of a weird thing for Joker to do, because he kind of puts himself in a very perilous position by jumping off the side of with like a giant gavel. He's the judge, but he's still wearing like the judge's garb.
Right.
Yeah, I mean it's silly. I think it would have been better if he just stayed on the top of the building, but...
I remember looking kind of nice, like there was some like really nice bits of them like jumping around, but and then
so the sleigh.
Yes, absolutely. But it's funny because I feel like we described this episode in a way that implied that it was better than it actually was, because honestly, it's got some fun bits in it, but like this is no Almost Got 'Em. Like it's not a well-made
that's
story.
a good comparison.
It's first off, the animation's kind of weird, as you've got a screenshot of this Harley looking stoned as shit while staring off in the distance, and Riddler we didn't show it. Riddler's right next to her, and he's like clearly just like a statue.
Well, in the Sega CD game, he was just a mannequin. He's a mannequin decoy. I think it was this whole episode,
right? Because he doesn't move at all. He's just in the jury, just sitting there.
Yeah, and like that bit with Harley, like screenshot, like the lawyer's talking. She's the focus of the room. She walks past, like Harley's gaze doesn't change. She's just like, I'm high as shit, Mr. J.
I mean,
Just
the entire jury is the same way, but it's extremely prominent with her because she looks it's just this weird expression frozen on her face. But it's just like the plot is like
it's kind of understandable because there is a lot going on in this scene. There's a lot of named characters, which probably takes a bit more effort to get have them modeled out and everything. A lot of like named characters sharing shots. A lot of inmates in the crowd that they have to animate, which have kind of devolved to being noob cybot. They're just like shadows. So I kind of sympathize with the animation being rough, but it's still rough.
Yeah,
So,
I think our point of it's obvious where corners were cut. Like that's a lot of this episode we was looking at. It's like, oh, man, they could have done more here, but obviously they didn't have the budget to do that, so it's a little simpler. Like the crowds of silhouettes in the asylum for all the randos, and really the plot is like as cute of an idea that is to have all the characters like interacting like this. Like the plot itself is kind of meh. Like
it's a fun idea, but it does it's kind of spoiled by it just kind of being like, oh, let's kill him anyway. Which, I mean, yeah, that's where it's going, and why wouldn't they do that? It is the best it's got is like it adds maybe a little bit of insight into the whole Batman thing, like, oh, did he inspire them, and it's ultimately their fault. It's not that deep, but it's a fun idea, but it's kind of spoiled by it. Just kind of the ending's just what you'd expect. There's no kind of clever twists. There's no like inner almost got him where it's like Batman was there all along, and it's the framing device for another kind of an extra plot at the very end. It's very straightforward what it is.
The episode does not feel
There's nothing
very
clever about it.
Yeah, clever.
It's not clever. Yeah,
that's exactly it. Yeah, it's the one thing they did was the thing that you immediately picked up on. Is like, oh, they're going to use that batarang at the end, and sure enough, it's spelled out way too obviously. Like, I just remember like it's interesting as the premise was us watching it and just constantly being like, they could have done better. So
yeah, ultimately.
I got a little more verbose with our initial tiers. I wrote low B, high C. I feel better about it now. So low B is probably good for it, but
Fine. I'm alright with that.
Just at the bottom there, I think.
Sure. What about compared to that Riddler one?
The Riddler one has some unique factor in its odd animation.
Alright, sure.
I'll give it that, and it's
Riddler actually moves and does things in that one.
when he is in a backdrop with an animated mouth.
Yeah, when he's yeah.
Very.
This is a reoccurring thing for him.
Yeah. Alright. Avatar. Episode 4, Season 2. Another Ra's al Ghul episode.
Ooh.
I was kind of surprised to see him come back, to be honest. I thought we had kind of finished that whole thing off, but no, they got more Ra's in them. The intro to this episode is really interesting. It's a flashback to 1989 in Egypt with no sound. Was it 89? Or was it 1889?
1889 sounds a little more. It sounds a bit more right.
Yeah.
Like, welcome to ancient Egypt. We're just about to show the new Tim Burton movie, Batman.
Yeah, that's probably a typo on my part. But either way, there's this very interesting like flashback sequence with no sound in it. Like it's got music, and that's it. And it kind of just shows somebody like excavating a site, I think, and then
It kind of reminded me of all things the opening of The Exorcist. That's what it reminded me of.
Right, yeah. Like somebody like falls in to the pit, and then it just sort of cuts to modern day. I just wanted to point that out. It was interesting. It was it's something new for this show.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little foggy on this one. Do you remember how this one goes?
They should. Maybe we get that little. Might be able to help ourselves with the screenshots that's available online.
Right.
We can get that up quickly. That might jog our memories. But I believe he goes to. Drawing another blank here.
I do remember,
and this is on this website. It's but season 3, season 4. Oh, okay, we're doing that. Oh,
I just remember like it involves Raish just trying to get a ancient artifact that's supposed to be like, oh, I can control life and death,
right?
Or something like that. And Talia goes to Batman in some fashion. That's what I don't remember is how Talia eventually somehow gets to Batman. Is like, hey, my father's doing something fucking stupid. I need your help on this. And so they go to Egypt. And
so kind of jog my memory. Raish is like stealing a scroll. He sends Ubu, who's dressed as Buff Phantasm, to retrieve this ancient scroll which you need for the resurrection. And Talia's like, no, I don't want that. Basically.
Right. Yeah. So, but ends up Bruce goes to Egypt with her, and it's interesting because it is Bruce kind of just doing Batman things as himself, but because he's in Egypt, he's like, no one's going to recognize me, so it doesn't matter, and Talia knows who I am, so he just kind of gets to do that, and that's pretty... He does eventually...
I mean, it's also, you defend yourself in a fight and do stuff like that. You wouldn't instantly go, it's Batman, especially, if you're not in Gotham.
Right. But,
He didn't go around covering everyone with rugs so they can't see him.
Jeez. I do want to point out, Alfred saying the line, I thought he fell in, or it wasn't, this isn't an actual quote, but more or less he does say, like, I thought he fell and died in that pit that makes you immortal. It's like, well, like, he does say, like, I thought he died in the Lazarus pits. It's like, that stuff that makes you immortal? Don't know about that. So, I don't know.
Anyway.
But it's a lot of... I guess there's a screenshot. I don't remember the context for this in particular, but it's a lot of just... Batman's trying to pursue Raish. They have some... I remember that at one point they get stuck in a glass cage. Like Raish drops them in a glass cage.
And there's only so much air in here. And farewell, my daughter. I'm so sorry to die slowly from asphyxiation. It's the only way, though.
Talia's in there with him, and he's just like, yep, sorry about that, daughter. Got better shit to do, though. So he fucks off. Batman eventually breaks it with, like, a sonar, or just some sort of, like, sound thing that shatters the glass.
And it was set up early, use it for something else.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It was like I can't remember, like a sonar thing. He had it prior.
Right.
It's like a sound generator, so he used it to vibrate at a super high frequency, which shatters it. And
then eventually they all wind up at this, like, tomb or something, and there's a coffin, essentially, which is like a big stone cover on it. And Raish is like...
Sarcophagus.
Yes, sarcophagus. He's like, Ubu, take that shit off, get that shit out of here. So he knocks it off.
It's like very delicate, ancient. He just shoves it off, just shatters it. And then, like, Raish starts grabbing it with his bare hands, and it's like crumbles to dust. And I gotta say, given my job, that made me wince the way he just grabbed these ancient things with his bare fucking hands. Like, and then they crumble to dust.
They just shatter.
I guess when he's that old, it's just he doesn't really value that as much. But
and
it made me wince.
He's just in there freaking out. I was like, no, my plans. I think.
Oh yeah, and then he kind of, while Batman's like elsewhere fighting or whatever, he accidentally finds a passage underneath. And I just sort of imagine David Warner saying like, yes, if anyone asks, I meant to find that. It's like, yes, I knew about that the whole time.
So, he goes down there, and then there's like a pool of, like, there's like another Lazarus pit, I think.
Sure.
And some lady rises up from it, and she's like this ancient goddess or something, and she's like, "Come to me, and I will give you the secrets of blah-de-da, immortality, which you already have, or the control of life and death, I don't know, something." And then Batman and Talia end up going down there, and she suddenly looks like a ghoul, and she's like sucking his
she's
life
like
out.
sucking. She's sucking Rage, sucking the life out of Rage.
Yeah.
She goes to kiss him and then drains his life. I was very shining.
Yeah. So there is this undead woman who is she's just like a mummy. This is a zombie.
There's a mummy.
There's a zombie mummy.
There's a mummy in the background. Yeah.
And then she starts like throwing like ectoplasm.
Sure.
She starts like just doing all this like ghostly shit and just like attacking Batman with the fucking powers of ancient magics. And eventually,
and if you're watching this and you're kind of expecting, oh, is it going to turn out to be like a hologram, or is it like the local caretaker in a mask or something like? No, this is all actual supernatural shit. Like that is a real fucking mummy. And I know this is not the first Raish episode, and Raish is typically associated with kind of supernatural shit, but you could at least sort of say Lazarus Pit is like science, kinda. Like it's like a chemical concoction. You could say, you could play that off as science. That's a mummy. This is I'm trying to think if I'm not mistaken here, if you haven't forgotten about something obscure or something, but I believe this is the first like just unquestionably supernatural thing in the show. So there's no ambiguity there. You cannot play that off as anything else. That is a zombie he's fighting.
Yeah, like.
And it's a little jump the shark. Maybe not jump the shark, but it's very jarring. Having watched all these in a row.
It was really odd. Like, I remember just watching that and being like, it isn't just that it's supernatural. Because, like, Batman has been involved with supernatural shit. He's, part of the Justice League. Like, that isn't completely foreign to Batman media. But for this show, I remember watching it and being like, this is weird. Like, it's just a zombie. Like, it was strange. So, like...
I want to give a quick mention about the mummy as well. Literally an hour before we started recording this, I learned that the mummy is voiced by Nichelle Nichols, Uhura from Star Trek, the original series.
Oh, right.
So there's such a random-ass fucking mummy is voiced by Nichelle Nichols. I can't even remember the mummy speaking, but it's a lady from Star Trek, so...
So, like, something happens and the thing, like, collapses on her, and they just did, like, escape. Raish is, like, a husk now, like, he's very clearly an old man who's dying, and then he just...
But don't worry, he has the power of video editing, yeah.
It just cross-dissolves back, and he's just normal, and it's just like, okay, like,
well,
why?
They were going to do this, like, the crazy, like, warp effect, but it kept making, like... Their computer crashed because the effect was too intense, so they just went with a cross dissolve. Like, good enough.
It was fucking.
It looks
weird.
really weird. Like it's pretty bad when it's like an effect I could replicate.
Yeah, no, it was just
in a simple, the most basic like video editing transition.
But not only that, like,
really
why did it happen?
cheap looking.
Like, why in the world did he just suddenly like, oh, I DH'd, that's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm guessing maybe the life juice she sucked out of him kind of came back out into the atmosphere when she got crushed, but they didn't like depict that. You didn't see like some green shit flowing back into him or something. No, I'm speculating here. It's they don't explain it. You're right in saying they don't really explain it. I'm just giving them the benefit of a doubt, but they don't show it. They could have just had things zoom into him, but no, instead we get the cross dissolve.
Yeah, no, so. It felt like completely unnecessary. Like, just a weird bit that they just threw in there. And then the episode ends with Talia betraying Batman and then saving Raish so that they ride off.
It's understandable. I mean, her father did try to kill her. Nobody's perfect. No dad's perfect.
Yeah, that just one last just cherry on that shit cake is just. By the way, she kind of forgives him for that. Uh,
Yeah.
Doesn't really give a shit, I guess.
Oh yeah. One of the very last bit I quite like. Ubu kind of throws his water to Batman just because I think he saved Ubu at one point.
Oh,
Ubu, who's been like a dick this whole time, but he's just like, yeah, have some water at least. So small thing, but
yeah. So we said C.
Yeah.
I kind of want to put that lower C.
It's not that bad. It's really. I think this is might be one of the most subjective ones yet, because it depends how much the whole mummy thing suspends your disbelief. Because you're like watching this, like we are, up to this point, like supernatural shit is weird. But I suppose if you kind of go backwards from Justice League, which is in the same continuity, it doesn't seem that weird. It all comes down to that, because the first up until that point, I would say it's very similar, if not a little bit better than what's it called, the Demon's Quest Part 1. Like, it was very similar to Demon's Quest Part 1, little globe-trotting thing.
Yeah.
And I preferred it as well. Like, Talia's a good companion. I like that. But then it really comes down to how the stupid shit with the mummy, the cross dissolve, it all kind of falls apart at the very end, which is a shame. It's good up to then.
I said that, and then I looked at what our C tier looks like, and I was like, no, it's actually higher up than compared to some of these. So, yeah, that's fine.
I would say maybe the top of C though, because the last act is kind of shit though. Like her forgiving him, the mummy, the cross dissolve. It's all at the very end.
Yeah, no.
But maybe the top of C.
Yeah, that's fair. Looking at that, that's fair. That title card is a lot brighter than the others.
Yeah, it definitely stands out. I knew that just kind of going through all these.
Doesn't have the.
It looks very
edge.
computer. It looks almost like computer generated. It also took me a while to notice the bat hieroglyphics in the background there.
Oh.
But that font definitely looks like it was just Microsoft Word art or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Not one of the better ones.
I almost want to do like, I mean, not now, but I almost want to buy these title cards because they're pieces of art in themselves.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe we can do that for fun at some point. But
House and Garden.
House and Garden. We have our villain reform episode number 3.
Yay.
I'm not going to spoil the rest of them, but I will say that there's another episode in Season 2 called Riddler's Reform, so...
I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, can't even imagine. I don't actually know what the plot is about, but holy shit. Like, they tackled this concept way too many times. And that is not the only one that we have yet to see. But anyway, this one is the Poison Ivy Reform episode. Ivy has a family now? Like, she just is, she's ditched the outfit.
She's out of Arkham. Yeah, she's been given a clean bill of health. She's a reformed prisoner, which I kind of find funny because we're just 2 episodes ago she was taking part in the trial thing with like kidnapping a woman. I mean, she was the one who kidnapped them, but we'll just ignore that, Ivy, on your parole. That wasn't me. That was justice. Right. So I know. So anyway,
yeah. So I think it was Gordon and Batman, just in full fucking costume, just shows up at our house and
during the day, which is always weird.
Yeah. She's just like, "Hey, Batman, come in. Gordon, come in. Here's my husband and his kids, who and we're living a happy life. We got it made. This is what I've always wanted."
Here in Simsville.
Yeah, and this is.
Yeah. I've really got to make this family in The Sims now.
Good old suburbia lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, Poison Ivy, who is voiced by the person who looks exactly like her, apparently.
Wow, the living cartoon.
Oh man, that's a little screenshot of
It's like Harley Quinn. It's just like she's based on an actual person. That's who Ivy's based on. Just a walking cartoon.
Yeah, the Amazon castless thing sometimes has some pretty goofy shit.
I had to include the other two there just so you realize what's wrong there.
Right, yeah, because it's supposed to be the actor, and it is interesting that is a picture of her from that episode as her like reformed, like not her in the costume. So it's interesting, but
yeah. I'm wondering, not to dwell on this too much, but I wonder if that's because it's Dr. Pamela Isley and not Poison Ivy. So that's like just how the way the Amazon like database works. It's like a quote different character.
It's written that way to imply that it's not actually just Poison Ivy.
I don't know.
We'll
anyway.
So there's Batman is like, all right, sure, I don't believe you, but okay. It seems like you're happy and you're normal and you're not doing evil things. But then
I guess we kind of forgot to mention that like at the same time there is a plant monster.
Right, I think that's probably why he's there.
Shit.
Yeah.
She's like the most obvious culprit. After he beat Riddler to a pulp. And he starts like, and he's like, oh, maybe it could have been Poison Ivy, I don't know, but I hate you, Riddler.
But no, yeah, there's this, a Mingo is running around, doing something, I forget exactly what, but, it's like, oh, we got traces of, plant, poison something another, and Batman's like, it's Poison Ivy, and then Poison Ivy's like, I'm normal now, everything is A-okay here. And Batman's like, squinty eyes, I don't believe you. You look shifty. I just don't trust you.
I don't like. There's not enough room for two plant villains in this show. Yeah. No way.
And then Robin gets kidnapped.
Yeah. We'll hear about Robin.
Yeah. So I think the plant monster gets him. And he gets kidnapped, and this I'm kind of blanking on. Like, at one point, I think Bruce is driving around, and then the plant monster's in his back seat, or something.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's just not Batman. Bruce is driving, and the plant monster's in his back. Oh God, what is the plot? Isn't like he's trying to kidnap Robin as ransom? Like it's his ward. It's not Robin. It's Dick.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Isn't the plant monster like? Yeah, it's something like he's like stealing something, but in the case of Bruce Wayne, he has something quote more valuable. His ward. Is that this episode? This is why we're doing like 10 episodes then reviewing, because this would only get worse.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he kidnaps Dick as Bruce Wayne's ward, not Robin.
Yeah.
Another episode.
Here's the thing, though. I remember the second half of this episode pretty vividly. And I think it's because it's so striking that the first half kind of is a little muddled, but it is a lot of like. The plant monster.
I think I'm right because the plant monster went after Bruce and he was like, "Oh, you've got to make the exchange."
Yeah. Because eventually he gets Robin back, and the plant monster gets away with it essentially. But then Robin is like, "Hey,
is it Poison Ivy?" And he's like, and Batman's like, "No, she has 2 children." And he's like, "Oh. You mean these children that I somehow know?"
She is married to this guy, and he has 2 boys. And Robin's like, I know that guy. He's this guy I happen to know. He's a professor at the college, and I saw his kids because his kids were taken to the college because of something like
your kids to work day,
child custody thing. And when I saw them, they were girls. And
what a series of weird happens. I don't know. That's a really convoluted way to say Poison Ivy is no, she's suspicious. There's
Yeah,
something wrong there.
something's going on, and it's because Robin happens to know these children because they were
Yeah,
at his college at some point for very dubious
I
reasons. Or
don't.
not just
I wouldn't know my teacher's kids. Like,
yeah, like I don't fucking know, man. That was he just says that, and you're just like, okay, that's how we get to the third act. Is just Robin just knows. So he's like, these boys are actually girls. So what's up with
and
that?
then, oh god, and then yeah, well, we'll have to continue. But the reason for them, yeah,
Yeah.
the boys as well, it's even more bizarre.
It is. So like they end up back at the Ivy's house at night. Uh, dramatic backflip. Robin's like scoping it out. He's like on top of the roof, and then he jumps off and does a bunch of backflips for some reason.
Because he's just been kidnapped and shit. He hasn't. I think he's trying to show off to Batman. He's like, I don't just get kidnapped, Bruce, and do this. Woo! Please don't fire me.
So, of course, she has a greenhouse in the backyard. They investigate that. I think he sets up something. Like Batman does something to like the sprinkler system.
Yeah, he starts tinkering with it. He doesn't say, but
Right,
he does
yeah.
something.
You're like you see him doing something with it as they go inside, and then they find a like basement underneath it, like a trap door that leads down to.
Very, very Resident Evil, I put.
Yeah, and they go down in there, and inside is like this, like big like square potted like plant thing, garden thing, the thing you
like an incubator thing.
Yeah. And they're like these squirming plants, and they're saying like mommy, and then they just turn into children, and
like babies, like toddlers. It's
freaky,
like what the
freaky pod children. This episode goes from kind of whatever to fucking weird for the rest of it.
Yeah,
it's very strange. Like
it is a moment.
It is.
Yeah.
It is kind of horrifying, and the show kind of downplays it. It's weird. So like
it really, really pushes the boundaries of what you can have in a kids show because it is fucking freaky.
Yeah. So these kids and these plants are growing into kids, and they grow rapidly. So I think we see them grow into adults. Like, and Ivy, of course, comes down, and she's like, I think she's all suited up again. The vines are all like subduing Batman and Robin, and she's explaining what's going on. And
you can do that now, I guess.
Yeah. She suddenly has the ability to just kind of manipulate these things because it feels like they're just under her direct control now. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what she's doing other than she's just being her, but she's growing these children, these plant children, which rapidly age. They reach adulthood very quickly, and then they turn into the guy, because I think they
turn into the Jim Cummings, William Birkin monster.
Yeah, well, they turn into like their father, or like because it's
their husband.
Yeah, the husband is like it's using his DNA. He's actually like tied up somewhere, and the husband that we saw earlier was actually a plant person. So it goes from the children to the adult to the giant plant monster, and then it just expires. And so whenever we saw the Jim Cummings, the Amingo, as I call him, that was like different versions of him, because it's these different seeds that that grow rapidly.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of weird visuals doing that, and so
it's so weird. Yeah, it's
so,
like they're having an entire life and then they die.
It's odd. And then she says, like, the reason that they were girls instead of boys whenever they visited is because she can't create men.
It's because it's a man supplying the DNA. They have to be male, and I was like, that. I don't. I mean, granted, mutant plant children are not real, but I'm pretty sure that's not how DNA works.
I think I mix it up. Yeah, like they were supposed to be girls, but they were boys, and the reason is because it's using the guy's DNA, and you can't make females with the guy's DNA, which
I guess their justification is, I guess it's very tenuous. It's like it's just a clone of him, and that's how it
Yeah.
works. It just has to be him very specifically every time. Like, you can't modify. I mean, it's just bullshit, but
Yeah,
it's the only thing I can imagine. Yeah, and the whole plot being given away by the kids. That's still really convoluted and
yeah.
doesn't really make a lot of sense. That's a weird way of doing it.
A weird weak point of this episode is that the whole thing with the kids is odd. Like it's handled very terribly.
It's convoluted and it doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah,
They could have just done something else, you know.
But it's stopped by some general fast thinking. The sprinkler system goes on, and it's like, oh, the water's gonna make them stronger because they're plants, but Batman rigged it with a weed killer or something like that.
Yeah.
And they all start melting. And then Ivy melts, and then she dies because she was also a fake plant. So.
Yeah, and then we cut to the real Ivy on a plane somewhere.
Yeah.
Kind of regretting what had happened. She's going through a book of memories, including her time with Harley.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I guess that's an appearance, but yeah.
Right, yeah. But yeah, and then it's just like, and then she sheds a tear, and then they give some sort of emotional, or Batman gives some sort of emotional monologue, and then that's it. But that was a weird episode. That was like,
it's good, but good God, it's insane. I think that we didn't write it on here, but like the biggest weak point is that weird thing with the kids. But it's borderline too freaky, especially for a kid show.
It is.
Like, she's making people. She's like creating life, and then they die horribly. Like, holy shit! And the I forget the feeling that thing with the pod children, with them crying out. That would have created some nightmares.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
I was like, she was like, oh my god, what?
That is like the most horrific thing we've seen so far.
In
this show.
It was because it was like horror-esque. Like it was really like, but it was not. It was in an Ivy episode. It wasn't in a Scarecrow one.
No.
It wasn't in like the Dream one. It was in the fucking Ivy is making pod people.
Yeah, Poison Ivy's got the biggest scare so far. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. So
I think it put me in a very domestic setting as well. Makes it all the more creepy, you know, because it's like it's just in someone's normal neighborhood. This is going on.
Absolutely
weird stuff. It was still entertaining though.
Yeah, for sure.
We put it in B. I think that's looking at what else is in B. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Well, there's Poison Ivy's debut. Would be better or worse than that? It's definitely got more going on.
I'd say worse, just because some of the plot weakness.
How about Sideshow, which we've just reviewed? Better or worse than that?
Better.
Birds of a feather?
No, I think it's good right there.
Fine.
I think it's good right there. That's honestly.
That's fine. Don't want to overthink it.
Yeah. I just don't want to overthink it. That's just, we'll put it there. Middle of B. That's fine. So, we have Season 2, Episode 6, The Terrible Trio.
Yeah, they suck.
These guys are, I mean, they're really scary. Like, quite honestly, you look at that title card, and it looks like, it's like I got this wavy text. The text is actually animated in the episode.
Yeah.
Like,
we should have put in like an animated GIF of it. The one time we should have put in some actual footage of the show so you see the wobbly text.
Yeah.
You know, it might get copyright striked, but I think it would be worth it to see the wobbly text.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I think these guys are more intense than Joker, honestly.
I hear as much.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the terrible episode. I mean, the terrible trio is about the three these themed robbers. There are these three guys with a vulture mask, a shark mask, and a fox mask, and they rob a place, and they kind of look like bootleg Hotline Miami characters, and Batman figures it out, and he's like, it's land, sea, and air. That's the theming of these guys, the Terrible Trio. And
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, what's gonna happen here? Oh yeah, there's this bit where they try to give the guard that they're robbing, they have him subdued, and they're robbing the place, and they try to give the guard some money, just like, hey, you work really hard, you deserve a little bit, and he's just like, nah, screw you guys, and they're just like, oh, that was the wrong answer. Ugh.
Yeah, they're so terrible,
Yeah.
and they're a trio.
Yeah, they are horrible. So, it cuts to, after the whole thing of Batman talking about them, it cuts to Bruce Wayne at a country club doing skeet shooting, and
Kind of weird seeing him with a shotgun.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, him using a gun is very strange, just recreationally. And there are these three guys who.
So just using it recreationally rather than professionally as Batman.
Well,
just shoot them.
Well, we saw that with what's his face?
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas Wayne, yeah. But he's at a country club with these three rich kids who are there shooting next to him, and they certainly sound and look exactly like the guys who we just saw robbing a place, but without masks on.
There's I don't know if they really intend it to be a mystery, because it ain't.
Oh,
I certainly hope they don't think the audience is that stupid.
It gives it away pretty quickly, hey, there they are.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that happens after the whole thing with Robin. I forgot about that. Batman actually tries to stop them in the opening. There's this weird bit where they set up a zip line. They zip line down. Robin goes to use the zip line after them. They cut the zip line, and so he starts to fall. He pulls out his grappling hook, shoots it downward at an arch, and then it hits the arch, and then he starts moving upwards and then spinning around by using the grappling hook on a thing below him while he's falling.
Yeah.
And then he manages to get away, or to get down safely because of that. They get on
There's a bit where when he first shoots the line as well, the grapple, there's a long shot of it, and it's just not moving. It looks like a static rod. Before it cuts to him, yeah.
Yeah.
And as soon as this scene happens, we're like, oh, it's gonna be one of those sort of animated episodes. Oh no.
Yeah.
As soon as that happened, we're like, oh, right, okay, it's gonna be another badly animated episode.
Oh, shout out
to... No boy, is it.
Shout out to Robin Rang. Yeah, there's Batman has bat-shaped batarangs. Robin has R-shaped batarangs.
Finally.
Yeah. He impales one of their, something they were holding with an R-shaped, sharp object. It's okay. That's his thing. Yeah. Sure.
It's not shaped like a bird. It's shaped like an R. Oh, yeah, I want to acknowledge Robin gets judge lips, so he goes in the water, and he gets the sitting weird mouth that the judge had in Catch Scratch Fever.
Yeah, there's a
just
shot
kind of a weird circular flesh. Yeah.
Yeah, because they get into a boat and they drive off, and then Batman figures out there's a bomb on the pier, and Robin's running out there. Or he actually stops. He actually listens. He actually stops, which is kind of surprising. Bomb goes off. He gets blown into the water. So that incapacitates him. Batman goes to save him, but his arm's broken, so he's kind of incapacitated for the rest of the episode.
Good job.
Yeah, if you can't tell by now, despite the fact this has become Batman and Robin and not just the animated series of Batman, Robin is kind of he's a pathetic piece of shit.
Yeah.
He is
well, that's
awful.
A bit harsh, but
he is.
Yeah, he's doing less than ever. We put your name in the title, and he seems to be doing worse than he ever did before.
He's always got a good dynamic with Batman. Their banter is good, but he's constantly getting in these positions where he's getting kidnapped or incapacitated, or injured.
I think I might know what it is. I think I think after season 1, they liked Robin, and they were like, we want Robin in more episodes. But as we know from reviewing season 1, they tend to only put Robin in episodes where you would actually have a purpose or you'd actually do something. I remember saying as much. He tends to only just show up, but typically when he shows up, he has a purpose in the plot. Even if it's just being kidnapped or something like that, it's usually a purpose. Whereas now, he's kind of showing up because, the producers want him to show up, but he doesn't really factor into the plot. So it's just like, it's this thing, the Terrible Trio, like, we kind of scripted this, so, like, the plan is just for Batman to resolve it. But the producer's like, yeah, we're going to have Robin there. So he just gets, like, subdued and things like that,
Yeah, you gotta include...
I'm starting to think maybe that's the reason.
We have to include him, but we don't actually have a use for him, so we have to figure out a reason for him to not be in part of it. So...
Yeah,
that I believe
it's not natural like before. I don't know. I'm just theorizing.
Yeah, that's speculation, but it is. Yeah, like he is just not useful in this show, or in season 2 so far. It's weird. So, they're at the country club, and Batman,
so one of the Terrible Trio's girlfriend is, like, her father's a wealthy dude, and they plan on robbing him. And he actually, so they go to his house, and there's a little discussion like, oh, we don't usually steal from people we know, and just like, we don't really like them. And then he actually catches them with a shotgun. I guess the shotgun thing was kind of set up, actually, now I think about it, because they're the country club. But he's like kind of puts the shotgun down to phone the police, and they get away. And I think there's like some sort of tussle, and he ends up in a coma, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he gets a terrible fate. He gets turned into a background. He gets turned into a background place, very similarly to what happened to Riddler in his debut episode, but it's even more jarring here because there's like a lot of cell animation around him, and he's clearly just not animated. So he's not going to recover anytime soon because he is not drawn on cells.
It's striking, like it stands out so hard. I remember as we kept making jokes about that, it's like, yeah, he is not going to be moving because he is drawn into the backdrop. So. But yeah, and then like there's another chase sequence when after that happens. It smacks to me a lot of that thing in Point Break where Bodhi like goes off script basically, and it ends up costing them. Like it ends up making the whole thing like kind of go wild. So yeah, like they something happens. So like that all happens. They try to get away again. Batman chases them again. I don't remember what Batman Sucks at Driving is about. I think he just crashes into something. Like But another thing happens is something very similar to that Harley episode. The Harley and Ivy, yeah, where Batman shoots the like Batmobile grappling hook out the front of the car and into the trunk of the car, the escape car that they're in. And then it cuts to the inside of the car where the hooks of the grappling hook are digging through the chair of the guy in the back seat. But like it didn't go through the trunk, it grabbed the door of the trunk. And so you look at it and you're just like, but there's an entire space.
Yeah, there's like half of a car there.
Yeah, there's an entire chunk of car that it's not actually going through. So that doesn't make sense. And I guess to get ahead of it, like, if you can't tell, one of the big issues with this episode is the animators don't know fucking anything works. Like,
yeah, no, it's not even just like poor animation, it's just a gross misunderstanding of reality. I don't know, maybe like they outsourced this episode to aliens from Planet Zerg to animate it or something, but it feels like it. We've got this thing on Earth called gravity, and like, what? And then Robin's just flipping around infinitely on this wire because they don't have gravity works differently in their dimension. I don't know.
because there's one that's written down that says animators have no spatial awareness. I don't remember what that entails exactly.
It's just,
but I do remember
just throughout.
Yeah,
it's just everything is off model.
I remember constantly we did that several times. We were like, "Hang on, rewind a second. What had just happened there?" And you go back and look at it. It's just like that doesn't make sense. Like that, like he was over here and now he's over there. What the fuck is going on? Like that kept happening, and it was fucking distracting. So they pull. This one reminds me of another thing. It reminds me of a JoJo's thing where they were just like, all right, just throw a bunch of money out of the car, and a bunch of people will like run into the streets to try to pick it up, and that'll block Batman from chasing.
And then they start like playing Prince music, and everyone just runs out into the streets for their free money.
Oh right, yeah, there was that too. But and then yeah, Batman like swerves and goes into an alley, and then he just realizes that he's at a dead end and stops. And there's like a couple. The Batman scared us in response to. There's a couple of shots of him reacting to him basically failing, and he just kind of has these expressions like it's very weird looking.
Yeah.
So, the terrible trio, they end up taking that guy's girlfriend like off to some like hiding spot basically, and it's like she's got a place that we can hide out at, and one of the things that they stole from her father like falls out of their pockets or something, and then it's like, oh, she realizes they're the ones who
They turned him into a background plate.
Yeah, they're the ones who knocked him out and turned him into a background element. They're the ones that robbed him, or her father, and so they are like, all right, well now we got to kill her, I guess. They're very nonplussed about having to do that. It's it is what it is. And then Batman somehow figures out that they're there because something. And
I know I can't speak for you, but I knew I kind of checked out at this point.
Yeah, no, it's I don't remember that detail, but I do remember that this ends with them. I think it's another snow episode. We don't actually have any shots of it.
I think it's just up in the mountains, I believe.
I thought it was snowmobiles, but whatever. Yeah, it's some sort of.
Well, I think this area that no, it's definitely snowing there. But I'm just thinking it's the snow only comes up when they go to this like mountain range just to show that they're out of Gotham.
Yeah, So they're up in the mountains, in a secluded area, and then there's a big chase sequence with Batman chasing them down. I don't actually remember what he does to two of them, but they get knocked out, I think. And then there's a very pronounced chase sequence with the last guy, who's kind of like the main guy. I think is the
Fox.
One. Oh, the Fox one. Okay. Bat Boomerang is a reference to him throwing one of the bat bolas, and then it, for whatever reason, turned around and then hit a fucking like telephone pole. It was, or a tree,
and it kept spinning.
Yeah,
it kept spinning like a ridiculously long time.
Yeah, it was another just absurdly weird shot. You can see here Batman wide. It's him gliding down, and just for some reason there's a couple of frames where his
like the fleshy fleshy part is his jaw, right? And then it stretches so he looks like fucking Desperate Dan, and you're not going to know who that is, anyone who's watching this might do.
It's fucking and so, but it's like a really pronounced chase with the last guy, and then he apprehends him, and then it shows the aftermath, like it shows him in jail or something. Oh yeah, he goes to jail, and there's another big dude there, and he's like, oh, I'm intimidated because he's scary, because he's just some rich kid. Like they're just rich dudes who thank you. They're just, I forget, like, they made some point, they had some purpose, I don't fucking remember what it was, because they're all, like, children of rich kids, like, they have, like, the ground guy, his father, he, like, inherited his oil business, and,
yeah, they're all, like, trust fund kiddies, and they're just doing this for kicks.
Yeah, and,
the biggest surprise to me was, I felt like, these felt like, animated series originals. No, they're from the comics way back in the 50s. That's surprising.
Yeah, that was weird. I just want to put it, because again, like they show what happens to the last guy. But like again, I forget what happens to the other two because they just kind of forgets about them. Like they get knocked out and then you never see them again. So it's the terrible trio up until the finale, where it's the terrible that guy. Um, yeah, this episode sucked. Like,
Yeah.
when we started season 2, I was expecting a lot of mediocrity. I thought it was going to be like that one lull we had, where it was like a bunch of B episodes where they're good, but not great. I thought it was going to kind of stagnate again. But
Yeah.
seeing this, no, they still had fucking terrible episodes to go, and they had a good one too. Like Bullock for Bullock is a great episode, and this one is a terrible one. Like we actually, I don't know about now, but we did debate, like, is this bad enough to be an F tier? Is this our baby mad? Because it's
damn close.
It's fucking bad. Like, not only is it just, the characters just aren't interesting, their gimmick feels like, it's like the Two-Face thing. It's like everything's twos. It's like, oh, everything is land, sea, and air. For some reason.
And what the Joker mentioned, Batman literally says, oh, these types are worse than the Joker. I'm like,
right.
Come on.
That's just nonsense. Like, that's fucking absurd.
Shut up.
Like, it tries to make them interesting. It just says that they're interesting. It just says, like, oh, this is what makes them unique. And it's like, no, they're stupid. I hate them. They're just these rich assholes.
I think this might be baby mad.
I think so, honestly.
This episode sucked. It's not going to be that populated. Hopefully not.
No.
I think that's baby mad.
It's not... The concept isn't as terrible as Batman in My Basement, and it's not as, like... Catch Retriever is just an uglier episode, but, man... It sucked.
It's a boring episode, and it's animated like shit.
And it's constantly, like, it is. I'm not kidding. Constantly doing things that made us go like, what the fuck did that just happen? Like, the people animated. It's not that it's the ugliest episode, but it's somehow still the worst animated in the sense that the people who animated don't understand how things work. Like, it just didn't understand. It had the ideas, like they had the storyboards, but they, in terms of making that, like, come to life, they're just like, I don't fucking know. Like, he used the hook shot and then he goes backwards. Fuck it. Who cares? There's no trunk in the car.
Laughing. Who cares? I just put Desperate Dan in this. I'm so sorry, Desperate Dan. You have to be associated with a Baby Mad episode. It's not your fault.
Oh God. Just. That sucked.
It's Baby Mad. Its biggest competitor is Underdwellers, and Underdwellers is weird, but it wasn't like this bad.
Yeah. Underdwellers is a weird concept. It actually had some nice things in it, like the animation was.
It had nice animation.
Yeah, but this one was just. It is at best a bland plot, and then everything else about it sucks. So. Yeah,
it's Baby Mad. Third Baby Mad.
God.
Kind of weird that I didn't think we'd get a Baby Mad like this late on, but
no,
it happened.
Again, I expected mediocrity. I expected B's and C's. I did not expect any A's or S's, and I did not expect fucking Baby Mad. That kind of shocked me.
Mm-hmm. Oh well. That's next one.
So something that could really cleanse my palate is a really good episode of this show. So, what's this one about? Oh, it's about Harley. Well, that's not fair, because Harley is actually...
She's alright.
She's actually good in this show. Like...
Yeah. So far.
Yeah.
Until the episode where she starts dressing up as a punk and joins the Suicide Squad or something, I don't know. And then she's been good thus far.
Beats Superman somehow, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, with a baseball bat, yeah.
Yes. But no, this is another Harley-centric episode, which there's a surprising amount of them. This is not the only one we're going to see in Season 2. And,
this wasn't like a slow thing for her. She did not just make a little debut and gradually get popular. Like they kind of hit the ground running. I mean, even in Joker's favor, she had a lot of screen time.
She did, yeah.
You know,
they really thought they had something with this character. Which, I mean, They did.
I mean, that's probably Paul Dini's thing, you know, because it's like
Yeah.
he made the character based on his friend. So you know, I think he's responsible for a lot of this. He's the one who probably pushed it. Rightfully so. I mean, he was right.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
she got popular.
I think, I mean, not to spoil it, but I mean, she's honestly pretty good in this episode. Like, I didn't sit there and go like, oh man, I can't stand listening to Harley Quinn. No, like she's.
Well, that just happened.
Oh Christ. So, this episode is the title is kind of literal. It is the synopsis says it all. Joker steals an atomic bomb.
It is.
And it is up to Batman and Robin to find and stop him with Harley Quinn's help. That is all
That
you
is
get.
one sentence. That is one sentence, and to be perfectly honest with you, it is absolutely sufficient. That explains it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, there's a auction for an atomic bomb. There's a bunch of like thugs in a warehouse doing an auction for this thing. Joker shows up, figured out how auctions work, so he goes, "Hey, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pay you nothing, and I'm gonna take it." And which I guess is not how auctions actually work, but still better off than you know.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What?
I just went for a screenshot. I just checked that screenshot site.
Oh no! Jesus Christ! Horrifying.
I was listening to you. I just thought I'd see if there's any useful screenshots as I'm going through, and that just scared the shit out of me.
Oh God.
Oh man, the Harley Quinn, she's so sexy.
I do remember that shot. It's a very good shot.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Please carry on.
So, Joker's like, here, they're like, we're gonna shoot you, get out of here, Joker, you stupid asshole. And he's like, I got a bomb. And they're like, fuck, and they run out of there.
You think you can steal from us and just walk out of here? And it's like, yeah.
Yeah. So, everybody leaves except the auctioneer guy, like the guy organizing it for some reason. Joker tosses in the bomb. The bomb turns out to be like a fake bomb. It like pops open the top half of it, and it's a little Jack-in-the-Box guy. He's just like, gotcha! And then it breathes gas out, and then it, the guy like jumps out of the gas with like his horrifying laughing face.
It's like the quickest acting Joker gas I've ever seen. It's like super potent. Yeah,
that's the laugh gas jump scare. It actually was like, ugh. So,
oh Jesus, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, Joker's got a nuke. If you want to see more of that, you can watch Injustice 1. So
you gave him a nuke.
So then there's this interesting shot of Hill. I forget what it was. Like they at some point they were like, "Oh, Hill's involved."
It was like Gordon. Yeah. Gordon was like, "We better let the mayor know." And it was like, because he's gonna put in the city. He should be kept in the loop.
It's like, oh, he's gonna nuke the city, so we gotta get this.
Tell the mayor, like, this might be a bad in your election. If the city gets nuked, he's like, mate, you might want to not put any more money in for your re-election campaign, you know, because there might not be a city soon.
Right. So they get him on the phone, and you get the shot of him with Joker's arm holding the phone, and it's very obvious that's what that is. And you had assumed that it was a animation goof, but that turns out to be...
we kind of went a bit back and forth. And I was like, oh, there's an animation goof. Let me rewind. I took that screenshot, and then it was just kind of like, it's a little too obvious. Like that's something is wrong there. And then we're like, oh, actually, maybe let's wait to see. Or keep the screenshot there, and like, let's see if that pans out. And sure enough, later on, that is Joker holding the phone. He was not wearing a Joker glove and sleeve for some reason.
Like, looking back on it, it's like, I don't know why they would have accidentally animated him with gloves on.
We've seen weirdo. You know what? We just come off the Terrible Trio, so I was kind of prepared for anything, really.
Yeah, maybe. Fair enough. So...
Just Batman flying or something, like the animators didn't get the memo. Anything could happen.
He's a literal bat for some reason. But, so... Yeah, it's like, oh, that's some foreshadowing, and it's like, alright, so Batman's like, I need to figure out where Joker's got this nuke, because this is a big fucking deal, That's some pretty big stakes
I mean, yeah.
for this show. That is some big stakes.
So for this very much comedic episode, it's the biggest stakes yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if
Probably
it's
maybe like Rage 2
yeah,
or something, but
that
yeah.
was either way, so he's like, I need to figure out what's going on, and I know one person who will know what the Joker's up to, and so he
His
goes.
therapist.
His therapist. So he goes to Harley Quinn's cell in Arkham, and he's like, hey, I need your help with this, and if you do, I will get you reformed. And she is like, fuck off? I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Fuck off, B-Man.
Fuck off. Yeah, that Arlene Sorkin really delivers the lines well.
But no, like,
fuck off, B-Man.
yeah, she gets convinced to do it basically, and then there's a lot of good like back and forth with her riding around in the Batmobile. Oh yeah, he keeps like putting handcuffs on her, and then she just effortlessly like undoes them. Like she pulls out like a pin and just unlocks them. So she's like hitting buttons in the Batmobile and causing carnage.
That's kind of the thrust of the episode. You've got this classic comedy. You've got the straight-laced Batman and the silly Harley Quinn. And I need to emphasize, like, she is like goofy. She is like a very silly character. She's not. This is not. I wrote it down, but she's not like modern Harley, where she's just annoying.
Yeah.
She's in this. She's very much kind of like a living cartoon character. Well, she is a cartoon character. You know what I mean? Like she's just very. There's a lot of like literal cartoon sound effects usually involving her. Like Warner Brothers kind of raided the Looney Tunes archive for a lot of the sound effects of this episode, because a lot of stuff she does is like we like that's, you know, they're more boings and the silly sounds you don't typically hear in this show.
So they end up going to some sort of like underground place. It's like a casino, like a stage and everything.
It's like a speakeasy sort of thing. Casino.
Harley tries to get Batman like kind of snuck in there, and then she fucking knocks him out and then ties him up and basically uses him as bait. And then she jumps on stage and then performs a musical number. And boy, that certainly felt like a bunch of nonsense. Like that was some filler if I ever seen it. Like,
who wrote this? Paul Dini wrote this. I think he was giving his friend a chance to sing. I think that's it.
Yeah. It's like it's actually her, and she's singing this very silly song about basically describing her relationship with Joker, where he's like constantly hurting her, and it's very silly. And then like while that's going on, Batman's like manages to break out.
He's tied up. He's literally starts thumping his head on the table. Clearly, he hates this shit.
There's one shot of him just bonking his head against the poker table that he's on.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's just a bit unnecessary, but come on.
Yeah, it was.
Don't be mean.
It wasn't like horrible, but it was just kind of like this is.
I could have done without it. Yeah.
But like, I think the point is that she's distracting them, and everybody's like listening to like watching, and they're going like, "Ooh, oh, golly gee."
And then Robin's sneaking in.
That's right. Yeah, Robin sneaks in.
Robin actually does something for once.
Batman gets out of the bindings, and then they, start apprehending people and start doing Batman and Robin stuff. Oh yeah, Harley refers to them as B and R.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Shoot the Chandelier, where like. I think that might have been her actually, but she causes like a chandelier, so it like unhooks it and it starts falling on someone.
She's riding it.
Yeah. And these guys, there's one guy who, his reaction to seeing that a chandelier is heading his way is to whip out his pistol, fire at it, and then start running.
He's trying to like shoot it to a million pieces before it reached him.
I don't think that would have helped. That might have been worse.
Oh no, I'm cut up. Yeah.
So, that ends up leading to, Actually, yeah, our notes cut from that to where Joker is, and I don't actually remember anything about that. It leads to them finding Joker. He's got his
Yes.
nuke. It's on a timer, and they take Harley there, but then she's again they handcuff her again, and then she gets out again while she's in the Batmobile, and then she starts using it, and
She betrays them.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, she betrays them, and right, 'cause, yeah, Joker's about to set off the nuke and then fly in getting on a plane, like a biplane, and just fly out of there. He's got like the fucking suit on and everything, like the
Yeah, he
aviator
has like the
suit.
flight goggles, the scarf, the aviator jacket, the whole shebang.
Yeah, and he gets to leave, and then Harley, betrays Batman rather, and then starts to go with the Joker, and then Batman's like, you know, he was just going to set off that nuke. He assumed that you were in the asylum. He was just going to set that thing off and kill you and everybody else. And
and your pet hyenas.
oh yeah, the hyenas too. And then she's just like,
She's like, yeah, you're gonna come back for me, won't you? And he's like, oh, what? Yes.
and then
He's like, no.
it becomes very obvious that he did not give a shit, and she was just like, that's the last straw. So she turns on him. I remember that, what happens is that she shoots off like, what is it? It's just like a little plastic
It's like
head.
it's
like
it's
a pop
like
gun.
you ever played Pandemonium? It's like the gesture on a stick thing. I don't even know if that has a name, but she fires it. She used it a few times in this episode.
Yeah.
This is the only time she uses it as a weapon.
Yeah, she shoots it, and then it just kind of flies across this like lawn or whatever, and then hits Joker in the head while he's on the plane, and he just kind of becomes like knocked senseless, and he starts like firing. He's in like a gunner's seat in the plane, and he ends up accidentally like firing at the people driving it, who for some reason all have Three Stooges haircuts.
Yeah, he starts like spinning around. It's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
He's just spinning around with his like World War II like air-to-air machine gun going off, and it's just so much destruction there. Needless to say, it crashes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like the A-bomb being shot at as well, which is a bit
there's a lot
worrying.
of threatening this bomb to go off while everyone's it's in the middle of Gotham City, and it's definitely a little tense.
This is what, Hill's mansion again?
I think so, yeah.
He's in his pool, isn't he?
Yeah, because they
drown him in the pool.
That was a weird bit where he's tied to a chair that's floating in the pool, and then Joker kicks him over, and then he starts sinking into it. And it's like, wait, what was he on? Why was he floating?
I don't know.
So, that's kind of the entire.
Yeah, and then Harley confronts him. She actually goes to kill him. But she doesn't realize she's holding a novelty gun. Yeah, she was gonna kill him.
That's right.
And she didn't know. She didn't know it was a novelty gun. And then Joker's just like, "Oh wow, you actually had the cojones to do that. Wow, I guess I do love you." And then they patch it up, and Batman and Robin are like, "What the fuck?"
Right, yeah, and then it just cuts the credits from there. But yeah, that was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Not the best, but good.
Yeah, so we put that in B. There's not really too much to say. It's a comedic episode. She's quite likable, honestly.
Yes, for sure.
She's definitely one of those characters that can be very annoying if handled wrong. But this is her origin. You know, this is why she's popular. She's handled well here. She is pretty funny, honestly. She's pretty likable. So where do we put that? Well, there's Harley and Ivy.
Yeah, honestly, kind of near that one. Maybe below it.
What about Joker's Fail? That's her debut.
Yeah. I think below Harley and Ivy. I think it's...
Yeah?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's not as good as the other ones above it, but still pretty good. I think it is
Sure,
funny, we
sure.
did write down the musical number being a thing that kind of dragged it down, because that was kind of like,
Hmm.
here's like 3 minutes of filler. It felt really unnecessary, but I can
Yeah,
also
it
see
wasn't like
people,
that bad.
I can see people actually saying that that's one of their favorite parts about it, which
Fair enough.
is,
Eh,
yeah, sure, like it's not terrible, it just kind of felt unnecessary, so.
I kind of dreaded it when she started singing, but it wasn't too bad. I
Yeah,
just don't
yeah,
like musical numbers in
yeah,
general, honestly.
yeah, it's not our thing, but
No.
no,
All
good
right,
episode though.
next one.
Next one, time out of joint, which is not time out of the joint, which is what we both
Oh,
keep.
time out of a joint. Yeah.
Time for a joint, yes.
Sorry.
I love this Photoshop so much. Oh god. So, I saw this title card and I went, "Holy fuck! They made another Clock King episode. Why?"
I was like, this is the Riddler, right? Oh no.
This is the second, maybe third episode that he showed up in. Is that one episode where
Yeah.
there was a villain who looked like him? But,
Right.
but no,
Yeah,
like,
POV, the mysterious fake Clock King.
yeah, no, it's
I'm still waiting for the crossover Killer Clock, where he joins forces with Croc.
I can't believe this. They made another one, and even weirder. Like, all right, so there's an auction going on again.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Wayne is attending it with Dick Grayson, and
He's there to make sure they don't try and sell a secret identity.
right, yes, the strange secret of Bruce Wayne did not show up there, thankfully, and Dick is bored to tears of all of it, and then you see the Clock King teleporting around, and you're like, what the fuck?
That's quite the upgrade from the power of knowing when trains run.
Having frame data.
Yes, a big freak. Yeah, he's using like netcode hacks. You know, he's like he's he's forcing rollback when he
Yes.
loses. He's just gone. He's just into a full blown cheater now.
So they have an auction for this big fancy clock. I forget exactly what it is, and then suddenly it just vanishes. The auctioneer goes going, going, gone, and as soon as he does that, it just vanishes, and everyone's
And that
like,
was
"Oh."
so funny. They play it twice.
Sorry, yeah, they look at the footage to see it, and that was just a good bit. So obviously, Bruce Wayne saw that, and he's like, "What's going on here?" So they look back at the footage. They see it in slow motion, and they see it like a hand reach out and grab it, and then it like kind of smears away, and it's like it didn't vanish; it moved really, really fast. Like, what's going on there? And then you see the Clock King, who is now working as like a butler or something.
I'd say a butler. He looks like a butler. Yeah.
Yeah, like a
I mean,
butler.
he looks like a butler regardless. So
Right,
it's a good
right.
fit for him.
He's like, yeah, he's the servant of some like scientist out in this remote location, and the guy is doing some sort. He's got some sort of it's like the infinity symbol. Like he's got this Mobius strip device, and whenever it shows a plant going from a seed to full grown to dying in like a few seconds, and it's like, oh, it manipulates time. Yeah, it does time stuff. So
Very, very, very quick mention that the scientist is voiced by the same guy who voiced the Kingpin in Spider-Man the animated series. So whenever he spoke, that kind of took me out of it a
right,
little bit. But...
yeah. So it shows Clock King just like his name Fugit. It shows Clock King like just pocketing one of them. He's just like, all right, thanks for this. Okay, anyway, bye. And yeah, he has time stop powers now. He has this device that he just stole from a scientist he's pretending to work for, that he's just able to stop time now, which is kind of weird. Like, it's actually really weird.
It's weird. Yeah, it's weird for two reasons. First of all, it's like a hell of a power for this show.
Yeah.
I mean, we spoke about the mummy before. That was kind of a jump, and this is like a hell of a power. Like, damn. And we couldn't help but mention JoJo's while watching this, and it's just like, yeah, this is like the main villain for part 3, who's the ability to stop time, and it's in the hands of the Clock King. You know, that it's put him on Dio's level.
Yeah, yeah.
This idiot is you know, on paper as powerful as Dio, minus the vampire shit. So that's weird. So you think, damn, he's pretty OP now. How does he use this incredible power? And well, not particularly competently.
So Batman's like, he's talking to Gordon at some point, and he goes, "All right, so a clock was stolen, so it's Fugit. Clock King did it." And it was just like, yeah, okay, that's just
You were
it.
right about Poison Ivy.
Yeah, that's true. He goes like, "Oh, call it a hunch," and it's like, yeah, he just knows because Clock King's an idiot, and just
It's the one time it was actually Riddler.
it is. I don't know, that got under my skin where it's just like he has to steal a clock because it's Clock King, and then Bruce Wayne's like, "Well, I know exactly who did this because it's Clock King." It's like,
It's particularly funny when you assume he's dead from the previous episode.
right, yeah, and
I know who did this. It's Adolf Hitler. It's like, isn't he dead? He's like, well, you never know. He had a clock. I don't know.
well, it's also bizarre that like the clock, as far as I'm aware, does nothing. It has nothing to do with the episode. Like, it's just a fancy clock. Like, I guess he just needs it for money, but
It's valuable. Yeah.
but it's not.
Criminals only steal things that have associated with them. I don't know.
But yeah, it's just so plainly written. Like, it's just oh, he steals a clock, and it's like, and then the rest of the episode is about his revenge against Mayor Hill. That's what Batman's like, well, it's Fugit, so we need to look into Mayor Hill, and it's like, well, of course he wants to kill Mayor Hill, who, let me remind you, one day on the subway before he was mayor was like, "Hey, Fugit, you need to take a break once in a while," and that ruined his fucking life. Like,
Yeah, I agree with you. Hill is the lowest form of scum,
it's,
and I wish he managed to get his revenge on him. He deserved to die for that.
it is so pathetic. Like, this character sucks. Like,
He's really see the power of pettiness. I have the infinite pettiness.
like, I first I was like, oh, he's silly, and like, you can at least have some fun with it. But like, after this episode, it became like, dude, get over it. You're fucking dumb. Like, he steals the most amazing power that any villain could ever have, essentially. And he's just like, I'm going to kill this guy because he made me fail a case through telling me that I should relax. Fuck him. That was like 9 years
I'm
ago.
going to drop so many banners across Gotham showing he's a bad mayor.
It's
That's how this whole thing started. All he did was drop a banner said like Mayor Hill is not great, and he's just like, Batman's like, I'm gonna kill you for that.
You're lucky I don't kill because you deserve to die.
I might make an exception in this case.
So,
You forced me to break my one rule. Never ever mess with politics. I don't know. Right, we can continue.
right, so we did a little time stop there. Time resumes, and we're back.
Yeah, we did that as a reference to our favorite villain, the Clock King. He was like, you should take a break.
Alright, so Clock King.
And then SK was like, now I have to edit around that. I hate you. And then you start like dropping banners saying Bob sucks.
Jesus. So, and there's a lot of cool visuals and stuff with
Oh yeah, it looks cool.
yeah, like he's just like, it just looks like he has like teleport powers because he just like blinks out of existence, and he's doing a lot of like kind of silly stuff where he asks
Knocks on
somebody.
a door.
So yeah, he goes up to Hill's office while time is frozen. Oh no! So here's the thing: you see him enter the building, and while it's quote unquote frozen, but you see the security guard and then like a desk fan blowing on him. And the fan's moving, but just incredibly slowly, and they emphasize
Yeah.
that. So, like, it isn't time stop, it's just slowed down so much it might as well be time stop. But he makes his way up the stairs. Oh yeah, he goes to the elevator, he tries to use it, and he's like, wait a second, this doesn't work.
Yeah, he's like competent, but also like not at all.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, that wouldn't work, would it? It's like,
Yeah.
no shit.
He's like, how silly of me. So he takes the stairs, he sees a lady
Mostly
like,
he does try to use it, and he has to like wait like half the whole remainder of the episode for it to go to the top.
oh my god. He goes up the stairs, there's a lady like tripping, and he makes some snarky remark about her. She's like dropping all her papers, which I guess is like parallel to him. But,
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So he goes up to the floor where Hill's office is, he goes up to the door, and then he starts knocking, but because everything's slowed down, it does this, it's this really funny bit where it shows him knocking in his, like, you know, frozen time, and it cuts to real-time Hill's office, and you just hear, like, it's like a gunshot going off, and then suddenly he like, walks in, it was like, what the fuck? He's just like, what the, So,
It'd be pretty terrifying.
yeah, so, Batman, of course, knew this was going to happen, so he, like, rigged a trap in Hill's office. I don't know, he does...
Well, he decides to, like, he channels Tasmania in two ways. Later on, in the following fight, he starts, like, spinning around, like Taz. But, so Batman, like, tries to stop him by just, you know, flashing a big light in his eyes and disorientating him.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so like Batman does this big, he converted the chandelier or whatever into a giant flash bulb, and that's the way to stop him, I suppose. I mean, it's probably just stop him by punching him, I suppose, but what do I know? And then they get into a fight, and like I said, I think like Robin grabs onto it, and then for some reason he uses the time slowing thing to just spin really fast.
Yeah?
Just weird, and then he kind of makes a break for it, and he just trips up. He trips on the stairs, and then he trips on the woman who's frozen in time. Like,
Yeah.
What is this character? He breaks the thing, right?
Does he break it there?
Breaks it at some point.
Well, I know what happens later, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah, he gets stifled by it. Like, he's just like, watch where you're going, and it's just like, it just makes him look stupid. It's so weird.
Pretty much.
So he just like, he goes back to the lab where that professor is, and I forget if you learned later or not, but he did find the Batmobile, and he goes, That's
"Ooh,
right.
the Batmobile." He's like, he goes all like penguin with it.
Yeah, he freezes
So-
time whenever some cops show up, and then he just like goes to take their car or something, and then he gets distracted when he sees the Batmobile. So, and then it kind of cuts away from that. It shows Batman and Robin driving off, and then suddenly things start freaking out. Like, everything starts like moving like at lightning speeds around them, and they are like dead stopped, and they're like, what the hell's going on? And they just get like lights blurring past them, and it's a really cool visual. And he figures, and he's like, oh, Fugit, he put a time device on our machine, then it froze us in this time bubble, and he makes some comment about like, if anybody runs into us, we'll be obliterated because of how fast they're going. And
Thankfully, Gotham is full of excellent drivers who always stay in their lane.
yeah, there's Joker wasn't driving that day, so there's nobody to get
Or
mad at.
penguin.
Yeah, oh right, yeah. So, and he kind of does this thing where he just uses
He uses the grapple gun to shoot through the floor of the car.
yeah.
To remove the device, which, yeah, that's also not minus the gun part. I remember in Batman Returns, he punches through the floor of the car to remove the device. So
Yeah,
that parallels there.
Yeah, but and then he does that. They get out of the car, and it's like at night, and I was kind of like wondering, is like, are they going to explain like how much time passed? And Robin looks up at the like clock tower. He's like, 48 hours just passed. It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit, that's kind of crazy. So, it cut.
You took 48 hours of my life, and I want them back.
So it cuts to Fugit at the professor's place, and then the professor just like walks in and finds out that he's been, using his device. So, and Fugit's like, "Well, we can't have that now, can we? Time for you to face your time punishment this second."
You need to go in. You need to go in the seizure machine.
Oh, he gets
So
put
he puts
in
him in the
timeout.
seizure machine. Yeah. Puts in timeout. Timeout.
Yeah. So,
And it's like this thing is just flashing a light. It's very hard to look at.
yeah, Batman ends up finding the place, and it's I forget exactly what it is, because it was something like not radiation,
The professor.
or like some sort of radio interference thing, because like they make a point that this building is in a secluded area where radio frequencies can't reach it. In order
Yeah,
to,
he didn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you did the testing, and you also didn't want it to be disturbed. They make a point of that.
Yeah. So like there was something about that. But anyway, like he gets there. Yeah, he's standing in this beam that's this little device is creating that freezes him in time. Batman frees him, and he explains what's going on, and then it just goes to like, all right, well, he wants to kill Mayor Hill, so he's gonna be at this like opening ceremony somewhere. So he's probably gonna do something there. And what is it like? Yeah, he's got a giant gavel, like a big mallet, and
Yeah.
he's gonna like strike the podium to signify that it's open or something. Some weird shit like that.
Yeah. That's it.
And then, and they make this joke, like the security guard near him is just like, you want to make sure it's not trapped, and he looks at it and he's like, it looks safe to me. And then time freezes, Fugit walks up and plants his bomb underneath the desk, and then just walks off, and he's like, aha, it's perfect. And it's very specifically a bomb that will go off whenever he hits the thing above it.
It's not a. Yeah, there was sort of a remark. It's like, oh, it's a time bomb. It's like, no, it's not. It's detonated by a shock. It's not even, the clock doesn't even use a time bomb. You think you would, but
Yeah.
small thing, but just kind of funny.
Oh, right. So this is happening like while Batman and Robin are at the professor's place, and they're like, how are we going to get there in time? And they're like, use these. And then they have...
I think, but yeah, Batman's like, show me how to use this.
Right,
You've
yeah.
got 30 seconds,
Yeah.
otherwise I'll beat you to death.
and
Tell me!
And it shows them on their bikes, like zooming across town in like frozen time. And
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
yeah, so they essentially have the same power as Fugit, and they essentially move in the same time that he does. Which I guess is because, it's all slowed down to the same speed, so...
Yeah.
But, yeah, he...
No, it's like Jotaro realizing he can also stop time, so...
So, they show up, and then they just, like, while everything's moving in super slow motion, and Fugit just kind of has to watch this because he's a pathetic little runt who can't do anything. So they get the bomb, and he just, like, I think Robin, like, runs it out of there. Just, like...
No, it's Batman. He gets, like, the... This whole thing feels like a demo reel for... Like, one day we might have to animate the Flash. Let's just try and get a feel for that now.
Yeah.
So Batman uses, like, his super speed to run out with a bomb and have it detonate over the river.
Yeah.
So, it was Batman, but...
Yeah. Then Fugit just, like, runs off, and then Robin... Yeah, because then Robin just puts his fucking foot out and trips him as he's running through an alley.
Yeah.
He falls on his face and breaks the machine. And that's how he's apprehended. He gets fucking tripped.
That's the Clock King defeated. Yeah.
That is the entire conclusion of that episode. He gets put away, and it's like there's some sort of like he's gonna wish he had that time back. Blah, 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 blah. And then the professor's like, because you were bringing up, like, okay, with the invisible suit, they explained it was radioactive, so that it was harmful, like they couldn't use it. So how are they going to explain why Batman can't use this technology all the time? and the guy's like, "Oh, well, I'm going to hide it away because it's going to be used for evil unless I do."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and it's just like, okay, sure, fine, but
Can you imagine if you're watching Stardust Crusaders and it just kind of ended with like Dio tripping into a trash can and he bangs his head and that's it? You know?
yeah, that's how part 4
Just-
felt to me. But anyway, no, like,
yeah, kind of. It gets like run over by an ambulance or a fire truck or something.
Jesus. But no, this is a weird episode. Like, and not sorry.
The use of the powers is kind of cool, but they're being used by an idiot.
Yeah, it makes the Clock King so much worse by giving him the best power that you could ask for and making him just suck with it. Like he uses it for absurdly petty shit. His like revenge plan is stupid. Like, I'm sorry, it's just.
But it's not even like comedic. He's just an idiot. Like it's not played for laughs hard enough. It's not even like, there's no remark from Batman saying, "Wow, he really has a vendetta against Hill. I can't believe he just suggested he had a break," or something like that. There's no like kind of offhand remark, just sort of acknowledging how petty it is. It's just petty.
Yeah, it's.
They play it straight.
I'm not saying I'm getting too angry at this fucking kid show, but it's just. There's just something
You
about
were kind of you did sort of sound like Batman talking about Sewer King a bit earlier. You were like, this guy, the Clock King, though, he really pisses me off.
Whoever made this show deserves to be fucking eaten by alligators. Jeez. No, like, it's just, I don't know. It's from a
wasted opportunity.
Yeah, it's such a strange concept. It's just like, what do we do with this time guy that we have? He can stop time. Okay, that's kind of absurd. So what does he do with that? He wants to kill this guy because he told him to chill out. Like out of some of the best episodes we've seen after Beware the Great Ghost, we've got.
It's not exactly hard advice, this, is it?
No, yeah.
Like, what did this guy do to you? He almost killed my wife. Well, he killed my wife basically and forced me to live in a cold environment for the rest of my miserable existence. What did he do to you? What did this guy do to you? Oh, he made me take a break early and I lost my papers in the fountain.
Yeah, which is
come on.
Honestly, what's kind of funny is this episode really reinforces the fact that like Fugit's problem is that he sucks. Like he's just a clumsy idiot. And like that's what he wants to get revenge for is his own stupidity. And it's just weird. It's just weird watching an episode where somebody has all this power and does something so stupid with it.
That's what's separating him. That's what's making him different from your Mr. Freezers and even like your Riddlers. Like they definitely wronged these villains, so they're a little bit sympathetic in that regard. Fugit now, like he was only trying to help him. That's the difference.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like crazy advice either. It wasn't even like something that he did that ended up being dangerous. It was just like, oh, we went outside and he fucked up because he went outside.
He didn't say like, oh, he didn't say to him like he's on the train. He's like, I'm gonna lose this case. He didn't, and Hill didn't say, oh, you should forge evidence. That'll, if you're that desperate, and then he gets caught with it, and then he gets fired because of that. He's just like, no, take your break 15 minutes later.
It's appropriately goofy.
That's why he's petty.
It's appropriately goofy for the concept of the Clock King. Like, if you just played it for laughs, that would be fine. But it feels like this episode feels like it's
not funny enough.
It wanted him to be like intimidating, like because he has a scary power and he's not doing anything particularly goofy. Like the bit with the rapid knocking was funny, but it wasn't a...
It has its moments with the power.
But it isn't part of his personality. His personality is just that he's just extremely, like, anal. Like...
Yeah, right?
And that's it. And it just felt like nothing. Like, he's just such a nothing character.
His glasses are silly as well, I just want to say that.
They are. Like, everything about him is silly. I think this character needs to be in funnier plots. Like, it needs to have more humor to it.
He needs to be paired with someone.
Yeah,
He needs to be
yeah.
paired with someone. It'd be funny.
Yeah,
You know, like I don't know, like Harley or something who loves a good joint. It's just like, you know, she's being silly and she's like, you know, needs the straight man. That's funny.
like him
Just
being
have him paired up
pedantic.
with a silly character. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like who would be a good foil for him? Like not definitely like not the Viddler because the Viddler's like too similar to him. But like
yeah, for
who's
sure.
someone like Joker? Maybe not Joker, but yeah, you get what I mean.
Yeah, I
right?
get what you mean. Yeah, yeah. Joker. I get what you mean.
Or Joker.
Or Joker. It's a Joker just kind of works for that. Yeah.
Sewer King.
But
But I think so we put it in C. It wasn't D because
no.
the time stopping thing was too.
There's
Was
interesting
pretty
ideas.
well done. I like the professor character as well.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, that was well done. I don't hate Clock King's personality. Like his acting performance is pretty good. Like his voice definitely fits
Yeah. Yeah,
the petty asshole character. But
yeah. There's just something about him that rubs me the wrong way, and it's just like I just want this character to be executed in a way that makes sense. It just feels like
I want this character to be executed. Wow.
I hate him that much. No, I think that there is a good idea here that's just it's mixed in with another good idea that they clash with each other. I think that's what my problem is.
I put it here.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think that's perfect.
Prophecy seems kind of silly, but I think it's elevated slightly because the time stopping stuff is done well.
For sure. Yeah, I agree. So,
Okay.
all right. Catwalk. Season 2, Episode 9. This is... You would look at this, and I definitely did. I look at this title card, and I go, like, I have no clue what... Like, obviously, it's a Catwoman episode. But,
Yeah.
like, that... I mean, we've already had a couple of Catwoman dedicated episodes. Like, what is this going to be about? So...
Aren't all of our episodes like? I mean, this is true for any character, but aren't these like particularly cat named after like cat themed? Her her episode names.
Yeah, yeah. But
Anyway.
so, do you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah, I'll try. It starts off with a little backstory, and it's not a particularly reliable narrator because she kind of skews parts of it and tells it wrong. Because we've watched these episodes, Selena. We know you're lying because you're lying. Her. She's saying a little bit backstory for her because it's a new season. She's saying that she is Catwoman and she likes to steal shit, but then that big bad Batman stopped her, and it's kind of glossing over a lot of stuff, like them having kind of a romantic thing, and you know, the kind of the truth of what she exactly did. But it's fine. I mean, to have a kind of it's only like a 22-minute long episode, so yeah, it's something.
It is weird though because
It's all. You think they'd use? Yeah, I remember that you think they'd reuse clips, but they don't. It's all, as far as we can tell, it's all original animation just for this, which is kind of neat. It looks nice.
But also, like, it kind of is in contrast to what happens rather than it actually being summation of it. Because, like, Catwoman is kind of more of a protagonist character in her episodes. Like, she definitely is a protagonist in Cat Scratch Fever. As dumb as that episode was, she was just working in good faith. You know, she was trying to save...
It starts with her, yeah.
Yeah, she was reformed and she's trying to save some strays from getting kidnapped. Like, and then, you know, she tries to stop this plot. And then the Cat in the Claw, like, she's doing bad things, but she has, like, sort of a good relationship with Batman in a weird way. Like, they have this very off and on thing. But this flashback, I remember just being like, oh man, Batman, he hates me and he tries to stop me. It's just like,
Yeah.
It just feels, it didn't feel, like, obviously they can't explain all of it, but I don't know, it felt weird to me.
Mostly simplified. Yeah. And then she's kind of she gets like shrunken down and she's like, you are large and pointing. Um,
Jeez.
yeah, so she's kind of reformed and she can't be Catwoman anymore, which, well, they kind of, didn't they touch on that? Wasn't that in Catch Scratch Fever? Like, they say, don't be Catwoman again, and then she was Catwoman again.
Yeah, well, it was
Yeah,
like,
she's reformed.
yeah, she's reformed, so if she gets up to anything, then she's going right back to jail. So
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of a repeat of that. So she gets, forget the exact order. Oh yeah, she's at this, Veronica Greeland's there again, at this kind of exhibition in a museum, and she takes issue with Veronica because it's sort of implied that she's an advocate for hunting, I believe, because it's like a extinction exhibition there, with, like dodos and stuff in the cases.
yeah, yeah.
That comes up again. That ends up being quite important. So Bruce is chatting to them both. Catwoman's quite rude to Veronica, and she leaves in a bit of a temper. And then she runs into him. We couldn't believe this because we honestly did not see this coming. She runs into Scarface. We love Scarface.
Yeah.
We're happy to see Scarface again. And her reaction to him is brilliant. Again, that's the thing that separates like Scarface from Clock King, is that just a lot of really funny kind of earnest reactions to this silly character concept. And I think and this permeates the whole episode. This is particularly good because she is such a good foil for Scarface. Catwoman is definitely on the more serious ends of villains, while still being like a superpowered character. Well, you know what I mean, like a supervillain, a costume supervillain, as opposed to like a Thorn or whatever. She's definitely on the scale of being a bit more down to earth, a bit more adult and serious wise. To see her paired up with Scarface is hilarious. Like, that's such a good pairing. I never would have guessed. I would never have set that up. But it's so good the way she reacts to this dummy, and she very quickly learns to take him seriously. Rhino's back, by the way. He's still around. We like Rhino.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We'll mention him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's consistent. Sometimes, like, the henchmen just kind of show up and they vanish again. You never see them again, but sometimes, in some rare cases, they are consistent. It seems like Scarface's crew stuck around after his first episode.
It was funny because we both like thought it without saying it. We're like, man, that kind of reminds me of Rhino, and then we'd forgotten that was actually part of that. It was before Scarface showed up. So whenever he actually mentions him by name, it's like, oh fuck, that actually is him. That's all. That's great.
Yeah. So anyway, Scarface says, "Oh, I want you to do a job for me." And she's like, "I'm not Catwoman anymore." And he's just like, I forget what he says. I'll give you money or whatever. Or aren't you bored? I can't remember his exact the way he twists her arm into you, but she does it.
Yeah, he convinces her.
And she breaks into the museum from earlier to steal something. What was it? Was it like a? Because I remember. So he has his own motivation. I know for a fact he wants to steal, like the extinct animals, the stuffed animals. I forget if she's just going for a diamond or something, just as basically she's in there to just be kind of a stool pigeon. Like, she's just a distraction while Rhino and the other henchmen just break in and get what he actually wants, and then they just pin it on her.
She does the thing where she does the claws in a circle to cut open a hole in a case full of jewels. I remember that.
That's very much her thing, yeah. Just forget if she was just going directly for those things or she was just sent for something else random as a distraction. But yeah, she gets betrayed, and then she, obviously Batman gets involved. She is breaking and entering, so she is still guilty, even if she got betrayed. They have a scuffle on a dinosaur skeleton, and eventually she just goes after Scarface, and they have
well, I think what she actually she tries to play it off, like she tries to pretend that she wasn't responsible for it, and because I remember, I wrote down cat and bat detective duo, because like there's this bit where they're both looking into this whole robbery, and so eventually she does turn on him and attack him, and I remember the "we" is written down because there's this very strange bit where they're like on like a big suspended like whale, I think. On the ceiling, And
Oh, I love the Out Foxies.
yeah, she jumps at him, and she just goes flying through the air as he like ducks.
Right, yeah,
And
yeah.
she
I genuinely do not know if she did that intentionally or not. It looked very
yeah,
strange.
and then she goes like right over him, and it looks like she just fucking falls. And then it cuts to her like hanging beneath the edge of it in a way that she's like hiding down there. But it looked really weird. Just wanted to
It
point
did.
that out.
So yeah, they track it down to Scarface, um, whose headquarters at the minute is a sawmill, which is very funny.
Yeah,
That's a good place to put him. I'm just getting a bit fuzzy. They have a confrontation. Yeah, and it turns out he was stealing the animals because apparently these extinct animals, these remains of extinct animals, stuffed animals, are worth quite a lot. And I think they just fight it out. To be honest with you, I can't even remember like starts it
Yeah.
off, but it's like three. It's Batman, Catwoman, and Ventriloquist, and his henchman. And I remember distinctly Rhino being
Yeah.
like have every fight, and then he gives one particular line reading, and then you would just
So-
twist something in your brain.
Yeah, so earlier in the episode, whenever you showed the voice actors at some point, like the shot of Catwoman and Selena Kyle's voice actors being the same person.
Did you know that they? Yeah, did you know they were voiced by the same person?
I can honestly that
Amazing.
shocks me. It's more shocking than Ventriloquist and Scarface being the same person.
Yeah.
So I saw the name Earl Bowen show up, and I was like, that name sounds familiar. I don't remember from where, but and I was like, I'll look it up later or something. And then at one point, like Rhino just does like this very generic thing where like he attacks Catwoman, and he's like kind of pissed off at her, and he's like, why you? And it just hit me like a truck. I was like, oh my god, that's fucking the Ghost Pirate LeChuck. It's literally it doesn't sound like him all the time, but that one line reading was like dead on.
Like,
Yeah, it sounded exactly like him, and I was like, holy fuck, it's that guy. And I don't know, that was a funny moment.
Curse you, Batman!
Well, I just pointed that out, and
You
you're just
scurvy
like,
dog!
I pointed that out, and you're just like, holy shit, it is. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a fun bit.
I had to hear it twice to get it, but yeah, that line reading was just like, "Grr." And you're like, oh!
We love Rhino.
Yeah, so Scarface Catwoman faces Scarface directly, and Scarface somehow ends up on the sawmill, the conveyor belt to a sawmill, which kind of gave me flashbacks to Almost Got Him, where Catwoman was on a conveyor belt to be turned into cat food.
Yeah.
And then there's this great dynamic where she's confronted, because if you remember, Scarface has this like lackey he's always hanging around with. I don't know why he bothers. I think he's just kind of dead weight. He's just this kind of nervous looking guy. Anyway, so like Mr. Scarface is in real trouble, and this lackey has to try and save him, and she's stopping him, and she says something very cryptic about like, I think Scarface is in there. I don't know what she meant by that. Weird stuff. I don't know why. And then thankfully this guy manages to save Mr. Scarface. And then she's just like, oh, right, she just pulls a lever and a bunch of shit crushes him, and he dies horribly. Like, it's quite horrific.
Yeah.
I don't know how they managed to just kill off Scarface like that on screen. Yeah, again.
Yeah, he got shot up like crazy in the first one. He turned into Swiss cheese, and then he gets.
Well, he hadn't. I don't know if it was like a spin-off thing that we missed, because we have been watching every episode in order. But like I had to guess, maybe put Mr. Scarface in the Lazarus pit or something, and he came back to life. I don't know. I don't quite get it.
Unironically, though,
I think the ventriloquist took the fall for it though.
Unironically, though, I'd really love that bit where like she like knocks him across the room and he lands on the conveyor belt, and you hear him like and it's just like yeah, and then as he's like slowly being pushed in, he's just like, dummy, you gotta help me, and you're just like the entire time it's actually the ventriloquist doing that from across the room.
So yeah, I don't know how the sound propagation works from us watching it, like.
But
I don't know. It's the camera's on him, but hear it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
strange, but
But it is funny, like it's obviously he's not moving or anything, like his mouth doesn't move, so it's obvious. Like they don't do anything weird with it. It's just,
yeah.
but his lifeless corpse is floating towards this saw blade. He's just like, "Help me, help!" It's just
Yeah,
a good
it's
bit.
really good. It's so good. No, it's fantastic. You just buy into it as well.
But I do want to point out they for some reason animate his fingers moving whenever, because like
Oh, right.
they keep showing the ventriloquist like moving his hand around, like every time they just like press a button or something, it isn't the ventriloquist doing it. He actually grabs Scarface's like arm and then moves it for him. But
Which is good at first, but
Yeah.
then you distinctly see his fingers moving independently. Like that's impossible.
yeah,
You know.
that doesn't make any
So-
sense. But other than that, like just really
There's a
delightful.
few shots where there are a few shots where this is very nitpicky, but where Scarface is a little too animated. He doesn't quite look like a puppet, like almost like the animators kind of forgotten. They just treated his character model like just a character. It's very
yeah.
subtle. It's not too bad, but those hands are the biggest giveaway. And sometimes his eyes are a bit too expressive. But
Yeah.
again, kind of nitpicking. He's still funny.
They push that concept to its extreme, basically. Like they push it to its limits, but he's still really fun, so I don't mind it so much. It's just worth pointing out.
Yeah.
And
And then Batman confronts Catwoman, and he throws the extinct cat onto a fire, and she's like, "We either pull that out the fire, or you apprehend me." And unlike when she was in that scene with Harley Quinn, there's no lever nearby for him to circumnavigate that whole thing, so she gets away.
yeah, and then Batman looks all sad again. There's for some reason we noticed that happen a lot, where he had this like kind of pathetic expression on his face. It was unfitting of his.
Batman pathetic.
Yeah, it just didn't match his persona in the first season. It just felt a little weird. But
Yeah.
no, that was a good episode. I was surprised that just here's a Catwoman episode, and I didn't know what to expect, and it was mostly a Scarface episode, and it was pretty damn amusing.
Right, so we put B or A.
Is it high B, low A? I think low A.
Okay.
I don't think I have enough criticisms of it to. If I had to think of any, like, a lot of the stuff with like trying to figure out who robbed the store was just kind of like, or the museum. It wasn't the most engaging. It was one of those things where the third act is where it really picks up, but not bad either.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like Rayman in that way.
Yeah.
But no, just a good episode.
That's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a pairing I never would have expected.
Yeah, that was quite a surprise and a delightful one at that. So,
Alright. Last one for now.
I have a question.
Does
Bane show up in this series?
I don't know. I mean, there's this episode called Bane, but I think it's because it's, the Riddler is the bane of Batman's existence. So I'm hoping for a good Riddler episode here.
This is probably before Night Warrior, so can't make it.
Then you can see in the if you look at the title card there, you can see a good shot of Big Riddle. So I'm definitely looking forward to this.
Yeah,
This is where he gets juiced up on Venom, becomes Big Riddle.
I had to point that out because I did say that, and like I didn't really look into it. Like I didn't really know. I just kind of said I don't know, and then you see this title card that says Bane. I'm like, that might answer that question. I
knew about this episode when you said that. And I was just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he shows up. Don't worry.
He may show up. So,
yeah, maybe.
Bane. This is an episode about Killer Croc. So
Thorne is getting pissed off. He's like, this is Batman. He's getting under my skin. He's the bane of my existence. And he's like, I should hire... I think it's Candace, his assistant, who we have seen prior to this, says, well, maybe you should just pay some money just to deal with Batman just once and for all. I think there's like a newspaper and it says Batman just recently destroyed one of his like particular rackets or something.
Right.
And I remember saying, "Oh," he says to Bane, "You're lucky there's enough money here left for you." And he's like, "No, you're lucky to have me. No, you're lucky for having me, Mr. Thorne." No, not like that. So basically, they just hire this mysterious luchador to just kill Batman. It's simple. We kill the Batman. Have we? Is this the first time we've just? That's the plot. Like, it's just someone gets hired to beat Batman.
Guess so, yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, like he's not interfering with a criminal or anything. It's just like, no, like they're taking the initiative for this plot. You know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. We stop the Batman. Okay, so they hire this guy, and he's still. It's interesting to note he's still very, very new in the comics. Like, I think almost like maybe even like same year. Like, he's super, super new. But he's not a animated original though, definitely not. He shows up with Candace and he has quite a bit of a relationship with Candace, and he says basically his gimmick is that he's a big, strong guy, but he's also smart. He's also a tactician, and he says, "I will find the Batman and I will learn his habits and I will first see him operating first before I make my move." So we then cut to, as we mentioned a while ago, Killer Croc now just has a gang, I guess. He now has henchmen. He has never had them prior, but he's now just doing typical criminal shit. He's robbing stuff, I guess. Batman and Robin take on the henchman. He escapes into the sewer. You know, it's kind of his thing. He's about to ambush Batman, and then suddenly out of the wall comes Bane, which is where this title card is alluding to. And Bane is like, "He is mine, monster," and Killer Croc's like, "Over my dead body," and Bane's like, "Oh, you said it." And then we cut to Killer Croc lying unconscious in a pool of shit, like, 'cause it's a sewer. And Killer Croc has been demoted to literal jobber because he is losing fights to a wrestler to make the wrestler seem better. That is the definition of a jobber. He's a true jobber. For the record, I don't know if Bane is literally a luchador, but it's definitely designed around that concept.
Right, yeah.
With his mask and everything, but... well, we say that. We get more wrestling shit later.
Yeah.
So, Batman goes to Killer Croc, and he's like, "Who did this?" And then a little amusing bit where he threatens to move his what do you call them? You know, his broken limbs are being suspended, and he turns the thing to hurt him. And he tells us basically everything he knows. It's a big, strong guy with a South American accent who pumped juice into his brain and became big, which is, well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole truth. You don't know much else.
Yeah.
Batman looks him up. He is apparently the product of a Project Gilgamesh. He was in a prison. They did experiments on him to create the Ultimate Warrior, which has kind of got another laugh at me as a wrestling reference. And then he escaped and basically became a mercenary. So it's kind of like...
He also, like, while they were looking at Killer Croc, like, all, like, unconscious, they go back to the Batmobile and it's just completely, like, flattened.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about that.
He ruined Penguin's car, that's a reference to that. The Batmobile just gets completely totaled while they were not...
That's a pretty good line. Pretty good line from Batman to Alfred. Remember that guy? He's here. Pretty good line to Alfred where he's saying, "He wrecked my car between a couple of guys. Now it's personal." I like that. Yeah, his choice is... It's too bad they don't have any sort of like mechanic who can sort that out. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Batman somehow traces it back to Candace. He ends up in Candace's apartment. I think Robin's surveying her apartment. I can't remember how they figured out it's Candace, though. It's a problem.
Is it the newspaper?
Oh yeah, the newspaper. What does the newspaper say again, though? We took all these screenshots. I can't remember what he. I read that newspaper article, and all I learned was how to draw figures. I'm sorry.
Headline: Rupert Thorne.
Rupert Thorne.
Yeah, like Alfred.
Breaking news! This just in: Rupert Thorne.
Like Alfred. Yeah, Alfred's just like, well, what about this name? And then he holds the newspaper out, and it just says Rupert Thorne, and then the text is that. That is.
Yeah. So we could check in back on Bane and Candace, and they are very much having a relationship. I mean, she's Thorne's secretary, right? It's not like his wife or something, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of implied to be, not approved. Definitely not later on. Oh, Robin spies Bane talking to Thorne, with Thorne. And then Bane, blindsides him and captures him. And then, so Robin is captured. Meanwhile... Yeah, again. And then meanwhile, Batman confronts Candace. And she's like, I'm not telling you anything, idiot. And then Batman looks outside and sees Robin's top half blowing in the wind. And there's a note saying, I've got Robin. Find me on the Thorns... Was it the Thorns Rose?
Oh, yeah.
It's Thorns ship.
So, I want to point out this note. It occurs to me now that Robin has done very little despite appearing more. That's when I realized it, and immediately after I realized it, he got kidnapped. And I was just like,
yeah,
God, that he is done dirty.
Good job, Robin.
This season. It's kind of
it gets worse for him in this episode. Don't worry about that.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to cut to the ship, and he's taking Robin's shirt off. I guess because he has a reason for it. It was the thing to show that he'd been kidnapped. But he's still got his mask on, and Candace is like, I want to take his mask off, and Bane is like, no. So anyway, so he's hanging over a pool of water, and Batman comes to save him, and Bane's like, I've learned everything. It's the fucking Tom Hardy voice. I know who you are, Batman. I've learned about you. And then they just have a wrestling match, and I say that because of two reasons. First of all, Bane Irish whips him into the railing alongside the ship, but then it's not a railing. Apparently they're wrestling turnbuckle ropes because they stretch and he springs back.
Just bounces off.
What the fuck?
Just
yeah, boing.
What the?
Yeah, I've been on a few ships. And then Batman does 3 Hurricane Ranas in a row. He lands 2. And then, Bane's stop that shit, and he counters the 3rd one. So, they clearly had wrestling on the mind when they did this, and as a fan of, Resident Evil 4 putting in wrestling where you wouldn't expect it, I very much approve of that. I could have done with a bit more.
I want to point out this concept of, him just, don't remove the mask. It literally is just, no, don't. And it's you have this luchador guy here. You could do something with that. Because... No,
a luchador must honor the sacred tradition of the mask.
Yeah,
we do not remove masks. And then Batman's just fuck tradition, fuck your South American traditions, and demasking them at the end. Wow, that's a heel move, Batman.
Honestly, even if that would have been kind of a shallow reasoning, at least that would have played to the character. That would have been a reason. But no, they just kind of just dismissed the idea. It's nah, who cares? Fuck it.
Remind you that we are not saying Bane is literally a luchador.
Right, of course, yes, but but the concept is there, and I mean,
yeah.
I guess
I don't know what he says. It's just I don't know. I can't even. I've heard so many of these now. Watching these, I can't even keep them straight. It's just he's keep the mystery alive, or we can't do that yet, or I don't know.
Honestly, here's the funny thing. If it's Robin, it's actually a lot funnier that they even acknowledged it, because if they did take it off, they'd just be like, I have no idea what this is. It would just be that
Yeah,
fucking
the
Lex
Lex
Luthor
Luthor
thing.
thing.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like people know who Bruce Wayne is. That would be a shock to people. But
I mean, to be fair, they would eventually go like, "Oh, that's Bruce Wayne's ward," but still.
sure, yeah, I guess that would, yeah. But it's a little less impactful for Dick Grayson. It's like,
Yeah, I got you.
They look at him like, who the fuck is that? I don't know.
Some dick.
Some dick. That's fucking.
Right. So while this is going on, Robin gets a real moment to shine because it's so weird. He's in the water. He's basically been saved, but he's trying to climb out of the water, and then like Candace kicks him back in, and then he's just like, "Oh, try that again." And then she takes her high heels off, dives into the water, and then they spend the rest of the... Robin and Candace have spent the rest of the episode wrestling awkwardly in the water.
For the rest of the fight, they don't do that till the end of the episode.
I don't know, it's about... There's a post-credit scene where it's still there.
but yeah, no, it's...
And then it bleeds into the next episode, like, you know, we haven't watched Baby Doll next, but it cuts to Robin and they're still fighting Candace.
Oh god, poor Robin.
It's so weird. Yeah, she's a secretary. Like she's not even like a henchwoman or like someone who would be doing the crimes on doing the crimes. So like, she wouldn't be the one involved in robberies or getting physical. Like she's Thorne's secretary.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk her down too much. You know, I don't know what she's capable of. I don't want to talk too much shit about her, but you know, Robin's fighting a secretary in the water.
They have established nothing about her that would imply that she would be a threat to Robin.
No, that's it. Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, they go toe to toe with each other in the water. It's like,
I think the way she's dressed as well. She's dressed for office work. She has to like carefully take off her high heels to fight Robin.
She's not gonna be that agile in a fight. It's not gonna work, but
it just doesn't make him look great.
No, it doesn't.
Especially, and you know what also doesn't help when Batman's fighting this fucking like massive luchador guy who's like a master tactician, and then Robin's adversary is Thorne's secretary. Like, come on,
some lady. And I just want to point out, looking at the notes again, like, it isn't just that he says break the bat at some point. He says it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like...
He has to say it.
It's incessant. It's like, it's annoying.
Yeah, it's like the one thing, especially like back then when he really only done... I guess he was just famous for breaking Batman's back. I don't know if he'd done that yet, but this sort of implies that he did.
Yeah,
they keep referencing it. He references it in Rises. I'm pretty sure his only other thing we watched with him in was Mystery of the Batwoman. I don't know if he said it there. It just feels like he always has to say, "Oh, I broke Batman's back once," you know. And they're like, "Shut up, Bane. We fucking know." What have you done recently?
It feels like I've covered wars, you know, but like not funny. It's just sort of like, here's my meme. It isn't a joke.
Broken the bat, you know.
It really is. It's just like, here's my joke. It's not a joke. I broke him though.
And then kinda. So Bane like lifts him over his head, and then this is like a thing that this is just gonna be a trend for beating Bane, especially the comic booky Bane. He just like he stabs the venom thing on his arm, on his hand, and then it starts like. I would have thought if it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I would have thought if it starts like leaking venom, but I guess it's also pumping it into his brain too much. And then there's this downright funny scene of him just freaking the fuck out. He just goes, help me, there's venom, and it goes really muscular, and they keep doing this thing where the background turns all red, like we just landed a super in KOF or something. And he's just freaking out. His eyes start bulging. The lenses on his mask or whatever like pop out. It's just comical.
It's really pronounced. Like, there are, I think, 3 different zoom-in shots of his head as he's screaming, and like all of his features are distorting.
Hang on, I've got to get a picture.
Yeah,
we need more pictures because
it's
one thing
long,
to explain it.
and it's the entire time he's just going, help, help,
I'm trying to make it smaller, but man, shaking.
It's absurd. Like it's like it's over
This guy
the
is
top.
so serious as well, but then like he's doing this.
It's over the top, and then
Bane jump scare.
it really serves to make him just kind of look like an idiot. It's just this really just embarrassing loss. Like, how does he get beat?
It really, yeah, he's so cool up to this point, and then this. And it's so easy, he just jabs him in the hand, and that's it.
And
No, like, outsmarting him, but, like, drugs are bad, kids.
The machine just malfunctions on his arm, and it just completely turns him into a child, just crying.
Right, do me a favor, this is for the sake of the video, right? Look at those pictures, and then just scroll up to that badass title card. Like, come on. You build him up so much, and then he's like, help me! Just, God damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, and just while we're just on the topic of me getting pictures, so he gets back to Thorn, and he just pulls his mask off, and nobody wants to see that shit, you know?
Yeah, like he pulls the tube out, and he just becomes like a little skinny guy, and he's pathetic.
He looks like a kid. He looks like a teenager.
And then he just
he doesn't even look old enough to drive.
He unmasks him, but it also doesn't like they don't emphasize or anything. He just does that. It just happens, and it's like
he doesn't say anything. He just looks sad, and then Batman you see Batman's hand there. He just lets go and he collapses to the floor.
Yeah.
Oh, bye, Bane.
Yeah.
All right.
Just reduced him to fucking.
His first half.
Yeah, just reduced him to fucking nothing. It just like it was like character assassination. It just.
Yeah, in his debut episode.
Yeah, like that just sucked. That I'm sorry. That was just that kind of ruined the whole thing.
Yeah, at least Penguin's debut. At least he sucked throughout. This one was like such a tease. Like he's so cool at the start, and then what a loser.
Yeah, and then
I don't think he shows up again in the. I know he shows up in the other one, but I don't know if he shows up in the new Batman Adventures.
And then the ending is like Batman has a recording of Candace saying something where she's like, "I'm going to betray Thorn."
It should be like, it'd be a real shame. Accidents happen, don't they? Because like, what about your employer? And she's just like, oh well, accidents do happen. And Thorn's like, oh, you hoped I was gonna get into an accident? Oh no. So yeah.
I do want to point out that Candace, this is her second or third episode since the Two-Face two-parter. Like,
right, yeah.
She was pretty early on, and then she kind of sat out for a while, and then she became kind of important here because she wasn't that big in that episode.
Well, presumably she's not coming back. I could be wrong, but given the way this ends.
Yeah, no, that's probably it too. But yeah, I don't know. It just, I guess this is also the first time we've seen Thor in season 2.
Oh yeah. He gets. I'm starting to realize now. I might be wrong here, but like a lot of the characters seem to be getting little intros, you know, because we haven't seen them for a while. Like Thorn gets a little bit of it. He's quite a good scene of him boxing, and his trainer's just like, "Oh no wonder Batman's running rings around you," and then he just knocks him the fuck out. This great bit where he just throws his gloves on him, goes, "Oh yeah, when he regains consciousness, tell him he's fired."
Yeah,
that's a great moment.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah. No, this is definitely.
It all falls apart when they get to that damn ship.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention, like, it also is another episode where they use Killer Croc entirely to make him job. Like, it feels like another step down for him. Like, he didn't just show up to be pathetic, he showed up, like, to literally make a villain look better by comparison to him. Like, that, man. That was a weird episode.
What a it's disappointing is what it was.
Yeah, it
starts off so good and then,
Yeah.
So, Bane was so good up to that point. Like he grabs a batarang and just crushes it with his hand. He's like, "Toys, you use toys."
Yeah.
But, damn it.
Yeah.
I almost prefer an episode that's just like sucks throughout, rather than the one that just lets me down. This isn't that. Yeah. So yeah, our rating is very much. How do we evaluate the two halves?
I don't. Low B. I think what's good about it at least brings it up from the rest of C, which is kind of throughout, kind of not great. I think this has enough good in it to at least put it there. Which is funny, we have, if you consider Avatar, Trial, and Bane, we have 3 of Season 2's, the first 10 episodes right there in this kind of middle chunk of almost being good enough, but disappointing at the end.
Yeah.
That's
we've got 10 episodes to go. I'm wondering if we're going to get another S tier at this point.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to see another S. I'm hoping we won't see any more.
Another Baby Madden.
Yeah.
I did not expect a Baby Madden season 2. But,
no, I didn't. Is that even? That's like look at this. We have. Yeah, that's like the one episode we've seen that didn't have like a major supervillain in it. Like like a recurring, like it's like a new. It's like the one time that we've seen so far. We've seen like here's a new focus for the villain, and it's more of the pedestrian types. It's like where it's more experimental, and sometimes that's interesting, but that's the one time they've done it so far in season 2, and it sucked ass. So I don't know what that says. This next one looks like it's a unique villain, so I'm curious what's going on in the next half.
I know the ending of that one, but I don't know the rest of it, so it should be interesting.
Oh, I don't know shit. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that. But as far as what we've got now,
should be just one step away from finishing the original run of the show, eh?
Yeah. I don't know though. There's too many episodes in this season so far that are disappointing. I'm a little worried.
No, well, we'll see.
We will see, for sure.